And then I look at Greg Hughes. Hello.
You've no worries anyway. So much money, you wouldn't even know what a worry is.
I know, that's right. I'll not even argue with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, put nobody past the notion. You slurp away your tea.
What was the story with? Did you get? I'm not going to mention the secret song because I know you get very nervous about it. But did you give a clue out this morning?
No, I didn't.
Well,
I was reluctant. What do you call that?
I heard
the boy
that gentleman
upstairs
talking about putting it in your pocket.
Sean, he gave a clue out.
No, he did not.
He did. He came in here to do something else, and he says, "Come on, about time you give a clue."
Oh, that's
he
right.
did,
okay.
Greg.
And was it an accurate clue?
It was good enough.
Because you could put your hat in the car, if the truth be told.
Well, you could put your hat anywhere.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put the hat on the top of the Christmas tree.
Come here, how are you?
I'm good.
Changing the weather. I heard the wind last night.
Mild day. It's nice.
Yeah, but there could be wee patches of black stuff about.
But could be. It was bad in certain places last night, but it's going to be wet and windy now for the next few days.
But afternoon should be cleared, I would say.
I'd say so.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, come here.
Lee, have a good one.
You too, all right?
You back tomorrow?
I think so.
Right, see you soon. All right, it is the 9 till noon show around the corner, but let's get a news update first, and it's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The steering committee of the British-Irish Parliamentary Assembly has corrected a drafting error which led to allegations that some ambulances from Northern Ireland were unable to cross the border into Donegal in the wake of the Creeslot tragedy. An updated report correcting the error has now been adopted. Ellen Butler has more.
The committee has clarified that at a sitting in October this year, claims were made that individuals were said not to have been able to attend the site of the Creeslot tragedy as the appropriate visas were not held. As a result of a drafting error, the paragraph referred to ambulances not attending instead of paramedics. The British-Irish Parliamentary Assembly's Committee on Sovereign Matters has updated its report to correct the error and to acknowledge a statement from the Northern Ireland Ambulance Service that its response to the tragedy was not affected in any way by border or visa issues. It confirmed in presenting the report to the Assembly and in subsequent media interviews, the chair of the committee, Senator Emer Curry, reflected in good faith the content of the report, as did subsequent media reports. The committee has apologised for any confusion and has again extended its sincere thanks and appreciation to the ambulance services and other emergency services which attended the Creeslot tragedy.
A man has been arrested in Dublin in connection with a string of thefts in Letterkenny on September the 16th. Detective Gardaí from Letterkenny travelled to Dublin over the weekend. The man in his 30s was detained, interviewed and charged to appear at a sitting of Letterkenny District Court on Monday. Gardaí say inquiries will continue in relation to the thefts. The Donegal Joint Policing Committee has been told that people in Milford and its environs want reassurances that they will not lose Gardaí when the local station loses its district headquarters status. Councillor Michael McBride said while it's welcome that Donegal will remain as a standalone Garda division, Milford will not be a district headquarters into the future. He says with many stations such as Kilmacrennan still closed most of the time, people in the district cannot afford to lose Gardaí.
There's a lot of guards working out of Milford Station, and they're also looking after many of the other stations that are peripheral of Milford. There's a lot of concern out in the general public about what level of policing that we're going to have going forward. Is the guards and the staff that are working in the Milford Garda Station going to be redeployed to other Garda stations and other headquarters?
Weather now. Today will be wet with spells of rain or drizzle. The rain will be heavy at times and may cause spot flooding. Isolated thunderstorms are possible later with highest afternoon temperatures of 6 or 7 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
This Christmas at Super Value, we have great offers to help you share the magic, like selected goodies like McVitie's Christmas biscuits, Tato boxes and Fanta 4-pack cans, any 3 for €10. Exclusive to Real Rewards members only. Plus, get money off vouchers every week on the Real Rewards app too. Share the magic this Christmas with Super Value, in store or online. T's and C's apply.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. And now it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 till noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
And we go again. It's 5 minutes past 9 on this Wednesday, the 6th of December 2023. You're very welcome along to the middle show of the week of the 9 till noon show. How you all keeping it there? Hope you're very well. Indeed, as Lee was saying there just before the news, a bit of a change to the weather. I might not have thawed everywhere yet, but certainly we're not seeing that cold weather what we've had for the last wee while. But anyway, we'll crack on regardless of the weather. The lines are open for you right now to get involved in the conversation, to trigger your own. If there's something that you want to talk about, a piece of information you want to pass on, an issue you think we should be talking about, or something positive as well that you think needs to be platformed, please get in touch with us. You can call us on 074 91 25,000. We've got Caroline, as always, taking your calls, and Shannon assisting Caroline as well and looking after the social media. If you want to WhatsApp or text or send a WhatsApp voice message, please use this number, 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. And of course, we want to listen to you, hear from you wherever you're listening, outside the Republic. We still have those crazy international dial tones in 2023 with AI about to overtake the world. But anyway, 00353 86 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp or text number. I'll remind you how you can watch the show as well already. Nice to see so many of you on board. Annie and Dolores amongst those watching the programme already. OK, the Finn Valley Voice this morning. The family of Ronan Aruddy, the 44-year-old Stranorla man who died in January, have been told that an independent investigation into the treatment from Letterkenny University Hospital is nearing completion. The father of a Donegal man with Down syndrome who died in January has spoken of the family's horrendous experience in Letterkenny University Hospital. On Thursday night, his father, Phil, addressed a public meeting at the Mount Ergol Hotel, which was organised by the Letterkenny Hospital Campaign Group, where he outlined the difficulties they encountered. And that's featured across the front of that paper and inside it this morning. The Inish Times this morning, local Garda bosses hope to have a new superintendent allocated to the Buncrana district shortly. Chief Superintendent Aidan Glacken has confirmed that a request has been made to have a recent vacancy filled. Superintendent Barry Doyle transferred to Sligo in early October. In January, he succeeded Greta Sheridan as superintendent in the Buncrana district. There are now 3 superintendents in the Donegal Garda division: Karen Doyle in Ballyshannon, Greta Sheridan in Letterkenny, and David Kelly in Milford. Chief Superintendent Glacken has asked Garda Commissioner Drew Harris that the void in Buncrana be addressed at a meeting of the Donegal Joint Policing Committee on Friday. Chief Superintendent Glacken was asked about the makeup of the Donegal division. There are currently 3 superintendents, but none in Buncrana, he said, in response to a query from Donegal JPC Chair, Councillor Jerry McMonigal. On to the Donegal Post this morning. A cold, crispy Bundoran on Monday afternoon was the order of the day when a sod-turning ceremony of sorts, or an unplanned solo mission by councillors from the Donegal Municipal District, took place at the site of a new multi-million social housing unit development in the east end of the resort. Preliminary groundwork has already commenced on the new 12.5 million 42 housing unit development at Drumacrin in Bundoran over the past week, which will be the first major social housing investment in Bundoran in 20 years. Moving on to the Nationals now, and we are rich again as a country, apparently. Corporation tax receipts have defied predictions of a slump, with record returns last month pointing to another strong year for the public finances. Alarm bells had been ringing in the Department of Finance after receipts from the business tax fell for 3 consecutive months between August and October, posing a risk to the government's budgetary arithmetic. But I would imagine you would feel they should have a good, reliable hold on this. But they got a big surprise because the latest Exchequer returns show the government collected a record €6.3 billion in corporation tax receipts in November alone. That's 1.3 billion, or 27% higher than the amount collected in the same month last year. It brought corporate tax receipts for the year to date to 22 billion, 4.2% up on last year, and on course to exceed the government's 23.5 billion forecast, which had begun to look shaky in recent months. November is the biggest month of the year for corporate tax, as most companies with a December financial year end make a preliminary payment. But the finances are incredibly strong, and I think it puts to bed really that argument of why you're spending money here when you should be spending money there. You know, people pitching one group against another, when the reality is there's a massive excess in billions that, if they wanted to, could be spent on a lot of these stuff. Although, that being said, I did hear the Finance Minister saying that they are using the money on housing, health, the Gardaí, etc. But it's what people feel on the ground, isn't it? On to the Irish Independent now, and Meath residents face Ireland's longest average commute to get to work, according to a Central Statistics Office study published yesterday. They spent an average of 35 minutes getting to their place of work. Wow, that would be dreamy. This compares with a 23-minute journey for the average employer in Galway City, who enjoys the shortage average commute. While Meath's average journey time is the highest, it's closely followed by the average 34-minute travel of workers from Kildare, Wicklow and Fingal. Meath also has the highest proportion of workers who endure commutes of over an hour. More than 1 in 4 of all commuters from Laytown, Bettystown, Morningtown and Donacarney in Meath, and on it goes to townlands around Meath, take over an hour or more to travel to work. I think a lot of people in Donegal do too, but anyway, it's not reflected in these figures. What is the employment rate? Longford, I beg your pardon, the employment rate was 8% in April last year across the country. That's down from 13% in the 2016 census and from 19% in the 2011 census. The counties, though, with the highest unemployment rates were Louth, Longford and Donegal at 11%. So we have an unemployment rate 3% above the national average here in Donegal. The Irish Daily Mail this morning, Sinn Féin's attempt to remove the Justice Minister spectacularly backfired last night, with the main opposition party being hit by a series of scathing political attacks. After winning the confidence motion by 20 votes, a defiant Helen McEntee told the Dáil that Sinn Féin wanted instability and not solutions, saying their mantra is to sack, sue and bully. She added, it may surprise Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou McDonald to know this is not an episode of The Apprentice. You cannot fire your way out of the situation. In a blistering debate, let's go inside here. Where is it? Page 5. Page 6, I beg your pardon. In a blistering debate, Sinn Féin leader was compared to former US President Donald Trump when she was accused of seeking to exploit the crisis following riots in Dublin after 3 children and a childcare worker were stabbed outside of a school. So do you believe Sinn Féin were right to move that motion of no confidence? I have sort of indicated I couldn't understand the logic to it, to be honest with you, at this time. It seems to have backfired, or at least that's what the papers are saying. Or do you think it was the right thing to do? What do you think? 086 60 25,000, were Sinn Féin right? There were names being bandied around the place as well. Someone had a go at Sinn Féin's Pearse Doherty as well. I don't want to misquote it, but anyway, I'm not sure of the motivation of it, if it was just a statement on that debate or if it was a dig about people's past or history. I'm not really quite sure, but anyway, it got quite feisty in the Dáil last night. In the Irish Daily Star this morning, former Northern Ireland and Celtic footballer Paddy McCourt has successfully appealed against a conviction for a sexual assault. The 40-year-old of Wheatfield Court in Muff, Donegal, was found guilty after a trial in May of sexually touching a woman in a bar in Derry in January 2022. At Derry Magistrates Court in July, District Judge Ted McGill handed down a 3-month sentence, which was suspended for 2 years. Mr McCourt always denied the allegations, and he successfully appealed against the conviction yesterday after Northern Ireland's Public Prosecution Service offered no evidence. During a brief hearing at the County Court in Derry, Rosemary Walsh appeared for the PPS, said they had issues around witnesses who previously identified Mr McCourt. This was a matter concerning an allegation of sexual assault against Mr McCourt, and there hadn't been a dispute as part of the lower court proceedings that the victim was the subject of a sexual assault by one of 2 individuals who were at a bar and situated just behind her at the material time, she said. But that he successfully appealed that conviction there. On to the Sun this morning, and maybe you did hear Richard Boyd Barrett's speech on Israel. He didn't hold back. He's been questioned about it and is not backing down. A TD has refused to apologise after branding Israel a filthy, apartheid, racist regime and a psychopathic state, which is quite the statement, really, because it really paints absolutely everybody with the one brush. And I believe there are people within Israel with different political views, but he said the entire state is a psychopath. People Before Profits Richard Boyd Barrett made the statement on a pro-Palestine march in Dublin on Saturday. It had called for the Israeli ambassador to be expelled from Ireland. Mr. Boyd Barrett told the rally, "This should be a moment of truth for people who have lied to us or are lying to themselves, that a state that is capable of doing this is a psychopath." Boyd Barrett added that the filthy, apartheid, racist, colonial settler regime that is Israel needs to be dismantled. Incredibly strong words, which I wouldn't be surprised would be borderline facing the wrath of any new hate speech laws, you would imagine. And finally, stranger things have happened than Conor McGregor seeking the presidency. He is flirting with the idea. I think he's playing it down today with a bit of a joke. But anyway, Elon Musk, who's an incredibly influential person, whether you like him or not, he has backed Conor McGregor to run for the president of Ireland after he claimed to be considering the career change. The UFC star tweet saw being investigated by Gardaí for allegedly inciting hate, but that has not stopped him voicing his views on X after the Dubliner dismissed his likely rivals Jerry Adams, Enda Kenny and Bertie Ahern on age grounds. Ex-owner Musk tweeted, "I think you could take them all single-handed. Not even fair." McGregor, whose fiancée Dee Devlin gave birth to their fourth child last week, responded with a lengthy post which said, "I'd fancy my chances, Elon, 100%. And in some of his comments, he seems to misunderstand Conor McGregor, the sort of role of president and the impact a president might have and what they have a say on and so on and so forth. But anyway, that is where we're at with the papers today. We'll be back with more in the 9 till noon show after we take a quick break. Stay right where you are.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the C-Store National Large Forecourt of the Year for 2022.
9 till noon show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
The Goal Mile, supported by AIB, has been helping families around the world for over 40 years. This year, we are asking you to step up together with your community to continue one of Ireland's favourite Christmas traditions. Search AIB Goal Mile to see where you, your family and your friends can find your local Goal Mile event. AIB, for the life you're after.
Tinny's Toys, Ireland's largest farm toy superstore, isn't just about farm toys. We've loads of fun outdoor toys for kids, such as electric scooters, crazy carts, electric quads, jeeps, tractors, and so much more. Hassle-free parking at the door with no traffic jams. Our Christmas club is now open too, and a wee deposit secures your item. Tinny's Toys, Leck Road, Letterkenny, or online at tinnystoys.com. Lay down.
Enhance your skills with SafeTech's part-funded training programs. At SafeTech, we provide courses including first aid, roadworks, people moving and handling, confined spaces, electrofusion and machinery training for Ireland and UK sites. Also online programs such as water hygiene, construction supervisors, safety reps and much more. If you have a group for training, SafeTech will go to you. Contact SafeTech today at safetech.ie and take the first step towards upskilling and safety compliance.
Suffering from hearing loss? At Kingsbridge Hearing Care in Ballykelly, our expert audiologists are ready to see you. Our brand new clinic location within Kingsbridge Northwest offers a full range of hearing aid provision, including enhanced hearing assessments and earwax removal treatment. So what are you waiting for? Don't let hearing loss hold you back. Call us on 028 7707 6050 or visit kingsbridgehearingcare.co.uk to book your appointment today.
I'm making a move. Looking for real choice? Leave diesel behind and make the move to Toyota Hybrid Electric at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. World-leading hybrid electric technology, lower emissions driving, with the widest choice of hybrid electric models from Ireland's best-selling car brand. With flexible payment options available, make the move today at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Toyota, built for a better world.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 A22 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
It's 20 minutes past 9, or fast approaching it in any case. A high-tech skin cancer service which could provide rapid treatment for patients has still not been fully taken up by more than 2/3 of the 13 national dermatology departments, despite its uptake in Dublin hospitals, amongst them Letterkenny University Hospital. Owen O'Reilly is CEO of Allview Healthcare, and he joins us on the programme now. Thank you for your time this morning, Owen.
Greg, thank you very much. Thanks for talking to me.
Right, before we talk about the uptake, talk to me a little bit about how this, as it's described, groundbreaking service works and what element of it is groundbreaking.
Okay, so Allview Healthcare, we are a national provider to both public and private for dermatology, ophthalmology, plastic surgery, vascular, some other services. But in dermatology in particular, we be the largest dermatology provider in the state. And how we do that is through teledermatology as a tool within our service. So a patient will come into a nurse-led clinic within a clinic, and we have a local clinic in Letterkenny, Sligo, Galway, we have them all around the country. So you come into a nurse-led clinic, and that nurse uses basically specialist medical equipment, which takes microscopic photographs of the skin, of the lesions. They can see the blood cells. So enabling that, all those images, so a patient could have about 50 images taken in a case. That is up into the cloud where consultants around the country are able to diagnose that. And the specialist part about this is the best consultant for that case sees your case. So the technology, if you have a lesion, so dermatologists have subspecialties, acne, lesions, psoriasis, pediatrics, and our system will allow your set of images, the patient's set of images, and all their medical history and their GP notes all be put in front of the right consultant. So that means you're getting the right care at the right time. Now that allows the consultant to give a diagnosis and a treatment plan. About half those patients don't need see the consultant face to face. So our GPs, we have a half dozen GPs work for us as well in our service. They will actually contact the patient, discuss the consultant notes, issue the prescriptions to them. However, about 35% of them will need surgery, and about 15-20% will end up seeing the consultant face-to-face for full skin exams and onward management of psoriasis and different conditions.
So just in terms of how it works in the hospitals where this is employed, how would someone end up in front of one of your nurses? Are they referred? Can people pay to access it? Or how does all that work?
Both. So they can pay themselves just to come and use our service. If they're a VHI patient, it's covered under all insurance, but if they're VHI, they have an exclusive rapid access 10-day appointment time anywhere in the country. That's then followed on by surgical or face-to-face, all done within the following 2-3 weeks. So from the date we accept the referral and the patient to their stitch has been removed, it normally is done within 30 days. Now that's in stark contrast to, say, patients we're seeing for Galway, Letterkenny, Sligo at the moment. A very small volume have come through our system, and they're currently waiting about 5 years. What happens there is the hospital actually send the referrals to us. Then we contact the patients on behalf of the HSE, bring them into our clinics, absolutely look after them, end-to-end care until they're totally cured, discharged, surgery done, sutures removed. Some of them are long-term care, so they've acne or psoriasis. We manage those as well. And that's basically how they come by the HSE route. The hospital themselves send out the referrals. And really where the issue comes down to is we guarantee we've won tenders with the HSE for the last number of years, and they've been repeated. Some hospitals use the service, some don't. We would have given the HSE a capacity of 20,000 patients to be consumed by us this year. About 5,000 patients have gone through the system via the HSE procurement procedure. So the hospitals don't pay for the service. It's paid for by HSE head office.
So just to be clear, sorry. Yep. Currently, the public health system is using 25% of the capacity that the HSE's approved funding for. Correct. Yeah. Okay. Why would I mean, obviously we'd be aware that the dermatologist at Letterkenny University Hospital has recently retired, and we've heard also from the dermatologist in Sligo that he's incredibly concerned with his workload. let alone the increased workload from Donegal patients. And he's saying effectively we could end up with a situation that most people have to travel to Galway for certain types of treatment. So why would a hospital like Letterkenny University Hospital, for an example, not take up some of this capacity?
So, Letterkenny themselves, just to be clear, Letterkenny Hospital are absolutely behind our service. Their business teams, they all want to use the service.
Yeah.
So just not to be confused on that, they would love to see the service go live. I think we've been talking to them now for about a year and a half, similar to Sligo. But they are controlled by the Salta Group. And the Salta Group, basically the clinicians, the team down there, the business team, the CEOs want to go ahead. It comes down to, we're not sure where the blockage is, but it's somewhere within the dermatology department, and why the patients are not being given access. Now, we do believe some of the consultants may have concerns around the technology piece. The national clinical lead for dermatology, who's based out of Tala Hospital, she has pretty much rejected the use of teledermatology, in Ireland. However, she's never engaged with the service, engaged with us, engaged with teledermatology. The HSE have approved it. It's used.
What's the accuracy rate? I mean, I see in a poster behind you, 98 melanomas and more than 700 other skin cancers in patients who would have otherwise waited on hospital waiting lists until their cancer was much harder to treat or terminal has been identified. But in terms of, picking up cancers... 99.3%
is what our current stat is on our accuracy of diagnosis. Anything we can't diagnose through teledermatology is automatically brought in for a face-to-face with the consultant, or any patients that have certain parameters like a family history of cancer, previous melanomas. So there's certain trigger points within the system.
How many? What percentage then would be false negatives, or are all of the questionable cases kicked up the line, so to speak?
We would from a consultant not knowing what the issue is from teledermatology, about 0.7%. That doesn't mean that's all that's see face-to-face. So lots of triggers in our system would indicate a patient needs a full skin exam. Everybody ideally should get a full skin exam every 18 months. It's just impossible. There's not enough consultants to do it. So ideally, a lot of GPs specialize in skin, and they're fantastic. That's who should be used for a skin check. However, their concern then needs to go to a consultant. The real core of the issue is there's not enough consultants globally. It's not an Irish issue. People blame the HSE for not recruiting enough consultants, and you can't get them. They can't get them anywhere. The UK have over 120 positions for consultant dermatologists at the moment. Ireland, we positions globally, there's just not enough dermatologists. So teledermatology has become a way globally to try and ease that. So a consultant could see 4 or 5 patients in an hour. They can see 15 to 20 patients through telemedicine. That enables them to work on patients. So about 15% of our patients have nothing wrong with them. That's a very small number, per 100%. So to say only 50, a lot of people say there's nothing wrong with lots of patients. That is factually incorrect. Most people on the waiting list, GPs have referred them in for a reason. And we've done 20-something thousand patients in the last 2 years. Our data fits with all the global numbers. There's lots of papers written on this. And about 15% have nothing wrong. About 50% in general are managed remotely. So the consultant reviews it, the consultant reviews the entire case, issues their management plans, and then our GPs talk to the patient. So it's more efficient use of consultant time. And if the consultant for any reason is unsure or thinks, I need to see this patient, remember they have images of their entire body. So they're able to see, okay, this person has factors that I need to see them and give them a full skin exam. They're brought in for that. So the technology is only part of the service. A large part go to surgery. That's all done traditionally, just brought in, but it's done rapidly.
So it's the stumbling block here then is that there are people in the medical profession or the decision makers that have an opinion on this style of diagnosis.
Correct. But yet have not engaged with actually looking into the service or the facts or the global facts. And where the HSE have been out here, there's other telemedicine providers in the country. A lot of them facing the same experience.
But is this not why we have sort of the top tier of management in the HSE, or in fact the Minister for Health, who is the overall boss person?
Only 2 weeks ago. Very pro the service, very much pro the service. It's down to local level politics. that is stopping it. So the Colin Henry, the Minister, Mary Day, all these top people in the HSE are actively pushing hospitals to use our service. And I know that every month comes up in the national waiting list discussions about it. So we don't know really why they're not being used. Hospitals in Dublin have seen huge benefits, taken thousands of patients off their lists by using this model. The traditional model, I've seen every single patient face to face. I know around half of them could be managed, remotely, is extremely inefficient. 28% of deaths in Ireland are caused by cancer at the moment. Your own Dr. Padraig McGuinness and the Donegal General Practitioners Group, they have huge concerns about melanomas. So melanoma is time sensitive. The quicker you get it, the better outcomes for the patient.
No, and we heard that too from our sole dermatologist in the Northwest as well. And
Correct.
Listen, every which way you turn now, and particularly obviously in the summer, you hear the advertisements talking about the dangers of skin cancer and what have you. I don't have a medical background, and I don't know what those that are opposed to this, what they might be thinking. It's well beyond my
I don't know either.
But you are of the view, and obviously other hospitals, the likes of St. James, Beaumont, Connolly, Our Lady of Lourdes, that they have used this technology, this SolView teledermatology service, and they have concluded that it's drastically reduced their waiting lists. 15,000 HSE patients in the last 2 years. You say you've got much greater capacity that's simply not being used because someone has an opinion that this is not the future.
Correct. Actually, only last night, and we're delighted, only last night, we won the Best Hospital Project at the Irish Healthcare Awards, and that's our second year to win such a project with Beaumont Hospital, with RCSI, and with St. James's. We won awards for what we've actually done working and partnering with the hospitals. So hospitals that do use the service are really impressed by it. It works very well. We could see about 50 patients a week in Letterkenny. We have a local clinic there, so those patients could all be seen and managed very locally if it was allowed to go ahead. We also have the smallest Breslow thickness, or the lowest Breslow thickness in the country, and that is how you measure cancer, stage 1, 2, 3, 4. We're at 0.68. The average is coming in nearly 2 around the country, so we're dramatically lower than any other service, and that's just purely due to rapid access. So we can take a patient referral and have them in a clinic in 10 days and have them diagnosed, and if they need surgery, they'll be in within a week or two. So, within a month.
Who does the surgery? They're going to the general hospital, the acute hospital for the surgery?
No, they come through our services. So we have consultant dermatologists, consultant plastic surgeons, consultant max-fax,
right.
We have histopathologists, we have our own histology labs. We're the largest dermatology provider, and by scale, actually, probably the largest dermatology department in the country. And that's primarily, we do both public and private services. So, so we're a very big...
So theoretically, then, it could be a case that someone might be opposed to availing of this service if they have this notion of, or not notion, because that sounds like I'm disregarding it, which I'm not. If they believe that, these are services that should be provided in hospital, that this money should be spent in public hospitals with these services provided in public hospitals, and this is going down this slippery slope of privatising the health service, someone might have that view and see this as to why they might not endorse it. For an example.
There is certainly reluctance in the healthcare system to use private providers. All private hospitals at the moment have capacity. We're only one of 6 of the main hospital groups who would be on the HSE framework to provide these services to the hospitals. So we know places like Waterford don't use any of the services, any of the providers. Same with, Salta do use in certain areas. We're actually doing ophthalmology work for the Salta group, but it tends to be the dermatology that always is the issue.
It's kind of interesting because the Minister for Health in this programme 2 weeks ago defended the use of the likes of the National Treatment Purchase Fund, for an example. He is of the view that it should be a 2-track approach. Okay, well, listen, it's food for thought. Thanks for explaining it and helping me through that, Owen, as I learned, really, to be honest with you. I wasn't aware that these facilities
and just,
were
I suppose,
available.
for yourself and your listeners, as we would always say, just think, if you're a privately insured patient, you can be seen in 10 days. Fortunately, if you're public in that area, it's currently running at 5 years. Same service, same technology, same consultants. So our question is why, and where is the blockage?
All right, and congratulations with your success at the Irish Healthcare Awards as well. Thanks.
Thanks a million.
Take care. Bye-bye. And there was local success at those awards, because the Letterkenny University Sports and Social won the national award in the Irish Healthcare Awards in the Workplace Wellbeing Champion section. So congratulations to all of the committee members there for all of their hard work throughout the years, and to all the members who make, as I'm told, the Sports Social Club a very special group to be a part of. So again, at those, this is just by coincidence, at those Irish Healthcare Awards, big winners on the night: Letterkenny University Hospital Sport and Social. They won the national award in the Workplace Wellbeing Champion section. Okay, brilliant stuff. Now, we have another beautiful Cadbury hamper to give away today, and we also have another beautiful big Cadbury Santa bar, secret Santa bar to give away as well. We're inviting you once again to share with us why you want to secretly send chocolate to someone special this year. What makes them deserving of this beautiful big Cadbury secret Santa bar? Tell us about a person in your life who deserves this surprise treat, but be sure to keep it a secret. We're going to keep it a secret. So you can text or WhatsApp the reason why someone in your life deserves this secret surprise. Text or WhatsApp your reason, name and address to 086 60 25,000. 086 60 25,000. Now, if you entered on Monday or Tuesday, will you not sort of think in your head, oh, well, my person isn't special enough, I'll not enter again? Resend the message in to us, please, if you want to. Because we go through them all, and there comes a point where there's so many good ones, there has to be an element of randomness to it as well. So if you've already nominated someone on Monday or Tuesday, please feel free to send it through again. It's not that we looked at your entry and thought, oh no, that person's not worthy. It's not like that at all, okay? So if you would like yourself for nominating to win a beautiful Cadbury hamper, or the person you're nominating to receive in the post a lovely big Cadbury Secret Santa bar, tell us why someone in your life is important to you, why they should win. Text or WhatsApp your reasons, your name and your address to 086 60 25,000. And in terms of the postage after the fact, we'll ring you back and sort all that out. But we want a really big entry today. And as I say, if you entered already, please feel free to resubmit that entry, because everyone, we had some, and we'll read some of them out. We've had some brilliant entries, and I wish everyone could win, but we don't look at them and go, oh, that's not worthy. It's not really like that at all, okay? So get going on the phone lines, 086 60 25,000, or if you want to do a little bit different, you can voice note why someone in your life deserves this great surprise, this lovely little surprise. It's a lovely wee thing. You get it through the post, and it's, you know, personal to them, and they'll know why. And what have you. Right, 086 60 25,000, WhatsApps or texts.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers, and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
In the next 15 seconds, you're going to find out where is the best place in the Northwest to buy a bed or mattress. It's Restex Beds and Furniture Mountaintop, Letterkenny, where comfort meets style. Make this Christmas simply better with cakes, pies and puddings from Dunn Stores. Serve award-winning mince pies from Foods of Athenry. Impress your guests with my much-loved Christmas pudding made with my Maguire family recipe. Or hand-decorated cakes by Carton Cakes and O'Hara's of Oxford. Plus, you can save with our 10 off 50 grocery voucher. Dunn Stores. Make Christmas simply better. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50 or more.
Mr. Blue Sky, tell us what. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €7.5 million. Play responsibly in store, in app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
This December, cozy up your home with the warmth of timeless furniture pieces from Foy & Company, Letterkenny and Ballybuffet stores. If you're looking for the perfect sofa to gather around with your loved ones, or maybe a dining table to host an unforgettable holiday dinner. And the best part, our special offers, with reductions on selected items in both stores. Foy & Company, where style meets comfort, making your house a home this winter.
Christmas gifting with Irwin Expert Electrical. All the big brands under one roof. Samsung tablets from €139, air fryers from €69, and a huge range of Dyson and Shark hair care. Smartwatches, gadgets, and TVs. There's sure to be something for everyone. Irwin Expert Electrical, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
Hello there. Christmas is the perfect time for saying thank you. And what better way than to give a Harvey's Point gift card? Available from the hotel on 07497 22208 or from harveyspoint.com. It's the gift that keeps on giving all year round. A Harvey's Point gift card.
086 60 25 000, your WhatsApps and text numbers. Give us a call on 074 91 25 000. Hi, Greg. I was just wondering, could you tell me when to send a parcel to Australia? Thanks, great show. Hopefully I'll have that information for you very shortly, because I have on the programme with me right now Sarah O'Dwyer, Communications Executive at On Post. Good morning to you, Sarah.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
Not too bad. Just by pure coincidence, someone asked me when can I send a parcel to Australia, and you're the person that will tell me all about it. All right, let's run through the Christmas last postal dates 2023. Shall we start with what's nearest first, I wonder?
Yes. So we'll kick off today. Actually kicks off our latest dates of posting. So if you are sending a parcel to the likes of Australia, New Zealand, Canada, or the US, today is the day you should be getting it in the post if you want to guarantee delivery in time for Christmas. So that's our kind of standard kind of parcel delivery. Then the next
before we get to that, right, before we move on, right, because someone's just jumped out of the chair now and tripped over the coffee table running to get out to the post office. But that's guaranteed. It's possible if someone's made an error, heard this and is panicking, if it goes in the post tomorrow, it's not guaranteed. But could we even say it's likely it might get there in time?
So our latest dates of posting, Greg, they are a guide. They're just kind of like today would be the latest date we'd say for Australia and New Zealand to guarantee delivery. But obviously we'll do our utmost to get parcels delivered in time for the big day. And if you are kind of concerned that you've missed the latest date, you can ask the people down at your local post office, about other options like express post, because the dates that we would give would be for standard letter and parcel delivery. So do chat to the clerk down at your local post office about the different options that are available to you. But like I say, it is a guide. Just to guarantee delivery in time for the big day.
Are there any rules on what we can and cannot post? I mean, foodstuffs into Australia, New Zealand, because they're islands, of course, they're very defensive on that. Do you have guidelines in relation to that, or is it up to the person posting to double check what applies to whichever is the destination country?
We do have guidelines, yeah. You can find them all on our website, onpost.com. But a general rule of thumb is, act with common sense. You can look up the guidelines yourself in terms of, we don't, you can't post batteries and the like. And then with regard to foodstuffs, when posting outside the island of Ireland, it's not even kind of up to us. It is, like you said yourself, customs in other countries.
Well, anyone who has watched those programmes on random satellite channels about the Australian customs will know, or the New Zealand customs, they will know they're pretty stringent. So be extra careful in relation to that. And what about tax? Tax in different areas, because that's kind of, I think, been, well, the likes of me who doesn't post internationally very often has become more aware of inward post. There might be a tax or a VAT or whatever that's in addition to it. Is that common knowledge? Is there any information we need to give to people about those implications in posting far and wide?
Yeah, it is. It's becoming more common knowledge, especially with Brexit having come in recent years. So there will be some customs to be paid if you're ordering goods from outside the EU. So that will be the likes of America, Australia, and the UK. So we would say to customers to be mindful when they're ordering online. Generally, the website will tell you if customs is included, if the company that you're ordering off has taking care of it themselves, or if you might be liable to pay when the parcel comes into the country. And then if you're posting abroad, your local post office can help you with the different forms that you might have to fill out for posting to the likes of America and Australia.
Okay, so the rest of the world is today. The US is the 11th, is that correct? Or did you group the...
So for letters or Christmas cards, it's the 11th, but it is actually today for standard parcels.
Right, shall we focus on the parcels then, because people can figure out the letters.
Yeah.
So what's the next deadline then for parcels?
So the next deadline then we have coming up for the rest of Europe is December 14th. So that would be the likes of France, Spain, Germany, all those countries. We'd ask people if they're sending there to have their parcels in the post by December 14th to guarantee delivery. And then we get right up to very close to Christmas with December 18th for standard delivery of parcels to Great Britain. So if you're posting to, England or Scotland or Wales, December 18th is the date you need to be looking out for. Then we're the very next day for delivery to Northern Ireland, December 19th. And then right up until December 21st, you can post your cards and parcels for delivery within Ireland. But I acknowledge I've just given you a rake of dates and information there. So unpost.com/Christmas is the best way to hop onto our website and get all the latest dates posting, because there's a very clear table there with
no matter what you say, no matter how hard you try and push the point, there's going to be a large group of us that do most of our shopping and posting on the 22nd and the 23rd, and then worry about it for the rest of Christmas. All right, good stuff. Anything else you think we need to know? Are we still posting? Do we still post letters in the same? Obviously, we don't do it. Not letters, cards, Christmas cards. Obviously, I don't think we clearly not going to do it in the same volumes that we used to once, but there's still a good amount of Christmas cards go about the place, isn't there?
Absolutely, yeah. We actually kicked off, we're really trying to encourage everyone to send their cards and parcels this year. There is nothing quite like getting a Christmas card in the post. It really is a lovely human touch. So actually last year, 3 in 5 adults sent Christmas cards with Unpost in 2022. So people definitely still are sending them. 9 and 10 within that number we're sending across Ireland, and 1 and 2 we're sending love to the UK. And obviously there's so many Irish expats now over in the likes of Australia and America and Canada. So it definitely is, still a trend, and people are still doing it. And then just with regard to kind of good practice for posting your cards and parcels, we would say make sure you wrap up your parcel really, really well, seal it very well, especially if it's going abroad. And always remember to include the return address as well, that on the very off chance it doesn't get delivered, we can get it back to you. So that's really important as well.
Yeah, and I kind of joked about after these deadlines, but in all seriousness, you should note that there'll be no mail delivery or collections from the 23rd until the 27th. So there will be people might be waiting on a delivery on the 23rd or 24th, but delivery and collection cease on the 23rd until the 27th. And then your next post after those dates, or the next time you can post something and expect it to be processed, is the 28th. Delivery and collection services return on December 28th. So if you haven't got it by 23rd, you're not getting it.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, the staff, both in the post offices and the mail centres across the country, they are flat to the mat at the moment, making sure that everyone gets their cards and parcels.
They're like your little elves, Sarah, aren't they? They're like your little elves, busying away.
But it's a colossal effort, and we really are doing our utmost to make sure everyone has everything that they need for Christmas Day and all the festivities. Which is why, as you said, the latest dates of posting, they really are kind of important to follow. So we can all work together to get everything sorted and delivered to you for in time for Christmas Day.
Yeah, it's a huge logistical thing, the postal service. All right, listen, thanks for that, Sarah. Appreciate your time. Happy Christmas.
No problem at all. Happy Christmas to you too.
Okay. So standard post for parcels, the Christmas days. For the rest of the world, it's today. For the USA, it's today. For the rest of Europe, December 14th. for Great Britain, or Britain, as it's described, whichever way you want to call it. December 18th for the North, the Northern Ireland. It is the 6 counties, December 19th. For the Republic of Ireland, December 21st. And there's no post, either delivery or collections, from the 23rd to the 27th of December. Is the post office doing free delivery of packages and letters up to 1 kilo to nursing homes this year? We'll ring back and check that, Caroline, if that's all right. We'll find out. That's was it a COVID initiative? I haven't heard anything of it since. But anyway. Hi, just wondering, could you tell me when to send a parcel to Australia? Thanks, great show, Greg. Thank you for the lovely compliment. Today, get down to the post office. If it's standard delivery, today is the last day where they guarantee as much as they can that your parcel will reach your loved one or your friend in Australia.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. 2 floors of men's winter fashions. This Christmas, it has to be Evolve, Letterkenny Retail Park, or online at evolveclothing.com. Open 7 days.
Christmas has arrived at Patterson's. Christmas trees and decorations now on display. Christmas gifts, from Hollywood mirrors to wall art to home fragrances, you'll find the perfect gift at Patterson's. There's a large range of dining tables and chairs, sofas, mattresses and bedroom furniture in stock and ready for Christmas delivery. Open Monday to Saturday 9 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. with free local delivery. Patterson's the Hall Lifford, for everything you need this Christmas.
Employers, Clever Cards is the only Irish company where you can order digital MasterCards online. Instantly email digital Clever Cards to your employees or contractors. Anywhere, anytime means late delivery never arises. Clever Cards are saved in your mobile phone, so you always know your balance. Small and large businesses use Clever Cards because they are accepted everywhere, online and in-store using Apple Pay or Google Pay contactlessly. First €1,000 tax-free. Order online now from clevercards.com. Clever Cards MasterCards are issued pursuant to Clever Cards interbank agreement with MasterCard. E-money's accessed with Clever Cards MasterCards are safeguarded and regulated by the Central Bank under EU Payment Service regulations. Clever Card is certified by Apple Pay and Google Pay. Terms and conditions apply.
Merry Yuletide, one and all. At TK Maxx, you can spoil all your loved ones with big brand gifts that are always up to 60% less than the RRP.
I'm going to need a bigger basket.
Fabulous gifts literally everyone will love. From kids' toys, designer jewellery to luxury candles. Big gifts, small prices. In store this Christmas at TK Maxx.
At Hickey, Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers, they compare quotes from all the leading insurers, so you get a great price. Home, motor and van, farm, holiday home, travel and liability insurance, they quote them all. So if the worst happens, you're covered. For a competitive insurance quote today, call Hickey, Clark and Langan on 9126688 or pop into their office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey, Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey, Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Uno, dos, tres. A hain, a do, a tree. 1, 2, 3. The Arona, the Ateca and the Tarraco. 3 great SUVs from Seat. And when you order now, you can enjoy 3 years free tyre insurance and 3 years roadside assistance, plus 3 flexible payment options to purchase your new Seat. Visit seat.ie to discover even more of our fantastic offers. Great things come in threes at DMG Motors, Donegal Town. And while I have 3 seconds, allow me to say that yes, terms and conditions apply.
It's time to give your favourite bar, pub or music venue the recognition they deserve. Nominate now for the Highland Radio Hospitality Awards at highlandradio.com. Hurry, let's celebrate excellence together. Nominations close on December 13th.
Whatever the weather this December, Letterkenny will bring a warm front to your shopping and great value for your pocket. Highland Weather Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK.
Today will be wet with spells of rain or drizzle. The rain will be heavy at times and may cause spot flooding. Isolated thunderstorms are possible later too. It'll become windy this afternoon and evening with fresh to strong and gusty southeasterly winds. Highest afternoon temperatures of 6 to 7 degrees. So your handiwork in putting your outdoor decorations or trees is going to get tested over the next couple of days. Bettina joins us on the programme now. Hi, Bettina.
Good morning, Craig. Thank you for having me.
Lovely to speak to you. Bettina, you wanted to go up on what has been beautiful, crisp mornings to visit on Greenia of Alia, and you've, as a family, were left disappointed. Tell us why and what happened.
Well, I got there about 2:30, and I found that the monument was locked. The monument itself. and there was another couple, a German couple there, and they obviously came a good distance to see the monument, and they found very disappointingly the gate closed, unable to get inside. And as I walked down, a travel coach came up with fully seated, fully booked, with people having paid for to see the monument, and being left very disappointed and frustrated as well to return from the monument without being able to go inside.
And what reason has been given, and I suppose it's dictated by the sign, as for access to be restricted?
Well, yeah, they basically, I presume they haven't done an official statement, the OPW. On my social media, I had someone commenting, echoing the opinion of the OPW, and basically the line was, it's for our own good, for our own safety, because we are probably too reckless and would go stairs which are frozen, and therefore might put in a claim towards to the OPW. I don't even know if that is legally possible, because I'm not sure what the liability is there. But also other comments on my post made it quite clear that it wasn't just yesterday or the last couple of days where there actually were icy conditions, but that the monument has been closed for at least 3 weeks. One person who commented was at a conference on the 14th of November, and he took up 2 guest speakers, one from France and one from the UK, around the same time as I was there yesterday, 2:30, and the monument was locked, and other people who commented had the same experience for this period of time. So the monument has been closed day in, day out, for the last 3 weeks.
You're of the view, are you, that really any excuse is being used to withhold access to this monument?
Yeah, I mean, as I saw the tour bus yesterday, it kind of dawned on me, because tour buses are still coming. And as I said, they are booked and paid tours. And if tour operators not only take home a load full of frustrated visitors, but also will receive complaints, then tour operator probably will cut down on visits to the monument, because of the problem occurring that they do not know if the monument is open or not.
Yeah, the inconsistency means that it becomes unattractive. That being said, just to play devil's advocate here, looking beyond the closed due to icy conditions sign, it does look kind of frosty and icy on that footpath. Do you think it should be opened and treated, or it should be opened and people should be able to assume their own risk?
It could be treated. I mean, I visited Greenland for the last 27 years, and I never actually seen it treated. That is the photo is where the new access is for the wheelchair.
Understood.
And it was frosty. It wasn't icy. The water actually runs off quite well from the monument and from those new access, wheelchair access. So, I mean, if they have someone in charge there, they could treat it. But one of my fondest memory of the monument are mornings, on a snowy morning when I went to the Greenland, and my footsteps were the first on top of the monument, and then I took a photo and made a Christmas card from it.
Oh,
there is something absolutely magical about it, you know.
I think, Bettina, and I do have to move on. It just seems that it's almost coming to the point that more often than not, we're talking about access to this wonderful amenity being blocked, and we've discussed this in great detail in the past. I mean, and also to I mean, we can't be wrapped up in cotton wool either. We have to be able to employ our own common sense to some extent, you would feel. But anyway, we'll get an official response. But I have to go for the news at 10. Thank you very much for your time, and thanks for accepting the invite to come on and talk about that with us.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing, Letterkenny Retail Park. Shop Lyle & Scott, Farah, Gant, Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, and online at evolveclothing.com.
Hake and Dublin Bay prawn chowder, grilled trout with pak choy. This Christmas, add a fresh idea to any table with Irish seafood, like organic smoked salmon or fresh Irish oysters. For starters or for mains, weekday dishes or weekend treat. Irish seafood is available in your local fishmonger or supermarket. It's easy to prepare and it adds variety to your festive meals. Enjoy the best that our fishermen bring ashore. And for great Irish seafood recipes, visit boardbia.ie/fish.
Nutrius Super Beef Gold ATP and Nutrius Max Maize Mix are now on offer at your local Homeland. Buy 10 25kg bags and get one free, or get €15 off per tonne in bulk. The Nutrius Beef ATP pack enhances animal performance through maximising rumen efficiency. T's and C's apply. Contact your local Homeland or farm commercial specialist today. Visit nutrius.ie for full product details.
The Department of Social Protection is working to improve disability payments in Ireland. There is currently a consultation on how these payments might work better in the future. We want to hear your views on how the system might be improved. To find out more, please visit gov.ie/disability payments reform. A Government of Ireland initiative brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
Heading out on the town tonight? Doing some shopping tomorrow? How do you know that the door staff or security guards are vetted, trained and licensed? Individuals licensed by the Private Security Authority must wear an identity badge displaying their licence number and their photo. Unlicensed door staff and security guards face prosecution and fines. To report unlicensed door staff or security guards, visit psa-gov.ie. Issued by the Private Security Authority, the security regulator.
Highland Radio Christmas Concert Countdown is on at the Mount Erigo Hotel, Letterkenny on Monday the 11th of December. Don't miss your last chance to kick off the holiday season with a great lineup of stars including Michael English, John McNichol, Claudia Buckley, our very own David James, and introducing Jack Kyo. This promises to be a brilliant night. Doors open at 7:30pm, show starts at 8:30 sharp. Tickets are flying out the door with just a few remaining at €25 each. Available at Highland Radio, the Mount Erigo Hotel, and at the outlet at highlandradio.com.
Live, on air, online, and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, I'm Michaela Clark with the news at 10 o'clock. The steering committee of the British-Irish Parliamentary Assembly has corrected a drafting error which led to allegations that some ambulances from Northern Ireland weren't able to cross the border into Donegal in the wake of the Creeslot tragedy. An updated report correcting the error has now been adopted. Ellen Butler has more.
The committee has clarified that at a sitting in October this year, claims were made that individuals were said not to have been able to attend the site of the Creeslot tragedy as the appropriate visas were not held. As a result of a drafting error, the paragraph referred to ambulances not attending instead of paramedics. The British-Irish Parliamentary Assembly's Committee on Sovereign Matters has updated its report to correct the error and to acknowledge a statement from the Northern Ireland Ambulance Service that its response to the tragedy was not affected in any way by border or visa issues. It confirmed in presenting the report to the Assembly and in subsequent media interviews, the chair of the committee, Senator Emer Curry, reflected in good faith the content of the report, as did subsequent media reports. The committee has apologised for any confusion and has again extended its sincere thanks and appreciation to the ambulance services and other emergency services which attended the Creeslot tragedy.
Families living in unfinished housing estates affected by defective blocks are stuck in limbo. Concerns have been raised that estates not yet taken over by Donegal County Council face a lengthy wait to access the defective concrete block grant scheme. Councillor Paul Canning says those homeowners are unable to obtain a compliance certificate needed to engage with the scheme. He's calling on the council to put provisions in place to ensure all homes are remediated.
One of the items that they have to obtain is a compliance certificate for planning and for building control. I have requested that houses that are within a housing estate that hasn't been taken over by the council and don't have a management company in place, or maybe the treatment system isn't working properly, that those houses that want on the scheme should be given a waiver from obtaining a full compliance certificate, with the understanding that this estate will eventually be taken over by the council, who in turn will bring the estate into compliance.
The Donegal Joint Policing Committee has been told that people in Milford and its environs want reassurances that they will not lose Gardaí when the local station loses its district headquarters status. Councillor Michael McBride says while it's welcome that Donegal will remain as a standalone Garda division, Milford will not be a district headquarters into the future. He says with many stations such as Kilmacrennan still closed most of the time, people in the district cannot afford to lose Gardaí.
There's a lot of guards working out of Milford station, and they're also looking after many of the other stations that are peripheral of Milford. There's a lot of concern out in the general public about what level of policing that we're going to have going forward. Is the guards and the staff that are working in the Milford Garda station going to be redeployed to other Garda stations and other headquarters? It's only about right that we get that information and put it out into the general public so that people know what's happening around them.
Boris Johnson's preparing to face 2 days of questions at the UK COVID inquiry, where he's expected to apologise for mistakes made by his government. The former British Prime Minister arrived at the venue 3 hours early with a large bundle of papers. Some victims' families are holding up pictures of their dead loved ones outside the venue in central London. Professor Anthony Costello is a former director at the World Health Organisation.
I hope we'll hear today a bit more, particularly for the 230,000 bereaved families, about how we might have shut this epidemic down at the very beginning and much more quickly, and what lessons we must learn for the future.
A man has been arrested in Dublin in connection with a string of thefts in Letterkenny in September. Detective Gardaí from Letterkenny travelled to Dublin over the weekend. The man was detained, interviewed and charged to appear at an upcoming sitting of Letterkenny District Court. Gardaí say inquiries will continue in relation to the thefts. Weather now today will be wet with spells of rain or drizzle. The rain will be heavy at times and may cause spot flooding. Isolated thunderstorms are possible later. Highest afternoon temperatures of 6 or 7 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with an update again at 11 o'clock. Until then, you can keep up to date with the latest local news on our website at highlandradio.com. The obituary notices for this Wednesday morning, December the 6th. The death has taken place of Nicky Hanlon, Swilly Park, Ramelton. Remains reposing at the residence of his daughter Sally and Shawnee Mooney, Castle Street, Ramelton, from 5 o'clock this evening. Funeral Mass on Friday morning at 10 o'clock in St Mary's Church, Ramelton. Burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family time on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only, donations if desired to Ramelton Community Hospital, care of any family member or Patrick Sweeney Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of Margaret Patton, née Beauvard, Midcott, Drumkeen. Her remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral leaving from there tomorrow afternoon at 12:15 for 1 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Drumkeen, followed by burial in the family plot in the adjoining graveyard. Family time please from 10 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. Family flowers only, donations in lieu to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Jim Douglas, 19 Drummond Road, Burndennet, and formerly of Glasgow, reposing at his home. Funeral leaving his home tomorrow morning at 9:25 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Cloghor at 10 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers please to Cancer Research UK, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. Family time please from 10 o'clock until 11 o'clock. The death has occurred of James Woods, the Bridge, Ballymonaster, Ballindrate, Lifford. James's remains are reposing at his brother Gerard's house, Dreenan, Stranolar. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:15, going to St Patrick's Church, Murlock, for funeral mass at 11 o'clock and burial immediately afterwards in the family plot. The death has taken place of Patrick John McLaughlin, Manny, Trenitubber, Culdaff. Patrick John's remains are reposing at his home, where you're welcome to pay your respects today from 11 o'clock until 10 o'clock. Funeral mass for Patrick John will take place tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in St Patrick's Church, Clay Malin, followed by burial in St Mary's Graveyard, Bogan, Culdaff. Family flowers only, please. Donations if desired to the Alzheimer's Society, Carndonna branch, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Patricia Pat Logue, née Devine, of Blackbraes, Campsie, County Derry, and Kill, Dunfanaghy, County Donegal. Her remains are reposing at her late residence in Dunfanaghy. Funeral mass in Holy Cross Church, Dunfanaghy, tomorrow at 12 noon. Burial afterwards in the adjoining graveyard. Mass can be viewed live on mcnmedia.tv. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock and on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Irish Motor Neuron Disease Association, care of any family member or James Harkin, funeral director. The death has taken place of Marie Denise Barr, Rathgar, Dublin, and formerly St Orns Road, Buncrana, County Donegal. Removal from Flanagan's Funeral Home, Dundrum, tomorrow morning to the Church of the Good Shepherd, Churchtown, arriving for funeral mass at 11:30. Mass and burial on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock at St Mary's Chapel, Cockhill, Buncrana. And the death has occurred of Sally Gallagher, Main Street, Mount Charles. Removal from Gallagher's Funeral Home, Station Road, Mount Charles, this morning going to the Church of the Sacred Heart, Mount Charles, for 11 o'clock funeral mass, with interment afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. Family flowers only, please. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Betty Morgan talks about her son.
Eamon was one of life's givers. When he had a sudden brain hemorrhage and sadly died, his organ donation helped 2 people transform their lives. It's consoled us so often. Eamon was a giver in life, and to now he's a giver of life.
Organ donors save lives. Make today the day you decide to be an organ donor, and let your family know your wishes. For more, visit hse.ie/organ donation from the HSE.
All right, just a reminder of our lovely comp we've got running in association with Cadbury all this week. We're inviting you to tell us why you want to send chocolate secretly to someone special this year. Why do they deserve it? What good reason do you have to send a Cadbury Secret Santa bar? Tell us about someone in your life who deserve your Secret Santa bar this year, but remember to keep it a secret. Just to invite you once again to call in, text your reasons, but be careful, don't reveal who it is or you'll ruin the surprise. Just tell us why they deserve it, okay? I'll give you some examples here of some of the fantastic entrants. And by the way, the person that you nominate for the rest of this week receives a wonderful Cadbury's hamper. It is beautiful. I'll get a picture of it for you and post it up at some point. But the person you nominate will receive this beautiful Cadbury's hamper, and you'll get the joy of knowing that you've lightened up their life. I'd like to nominate Sheila. She went into a coma for 3 months, during which time we were told every day that she wouldn't last till the morning. She came out of the coma but spent another 4 months in another hospital, where we were told that if she survived, she'd end her days in a nursing home. She got home. She's now back happily in her own house, living her best life. That comes in from Brian. Thanks for that, Brian. You're still in the draw. I'd love for my sister to get the Cadbury Hamper prize. I've just had my 3rd baby and she's been a superstar, helping with my 2 other children. When I was in hospital, even though she had a baby herself 9 weeks ago, we lost our mum at the start of this year, so we never imagined we'd be going through this newborn stage with a mum to guide us. So what a mix of emotions there, the joy of life, and then of course the sadness of losing someone. But as you say, your mother is there to guide you. Thank you. Could I please nominate my 11-year-old daughter? She's a great wee girl. She helped care for her uncle when he was diagnosed with MND. She'd helped feed him, get him things he wanted. He passed away in July and she's finding it very hard. She misses him so much. I know she would love this wee surprise and be chuffed. She would split the hamper between her and his 3 young children. Regards from Mary. Thank you, Mary. What a wonderful daughter that you have. She is, of course, still in the running to receive this beautiful hamper from Cadbury. I'm nominating my mum and dad, Josephine and Shawnee. They got COVID and got through it. Very good parents. Then they do anything for anyone. Big heart. If someone is lonely, they take them into the house. Thank you for that, Maeve. Lovely suggestion. I'd like to nominate my home help, Katrina. She does everything for me. Since I was diagnosed with a brain tumour at 48, she's my personal counsellor and even batch cooks my favourite dinner. For me, I don't know what I would do without her. That comes in from Caroline. I would like to nominate my Aunt Teresa. My family was involved in a tragedy in April where we lost members of our family. She was there with us throughout then. First weeks in hospital and all while helping our friend go through cancer treatment. Her selflessness never wavers, always helping others. Please consider her. Many thanks. Colette, we will, of course. And thank you for that. And what a wonderful person. So keep your nominations coming in for someone who deserves this very special treat this Christmas from Cadbury. And just to remind you to look out for a poster near you if you want to send a Cadbury Secret Santa bar to someone special. They're popping up all over the country. Or search Cadbury Secret Santa for more details, full terms and conditions. You can visit cadbury.ie. And again, just to encourage you that if you entered earlier in the week, please resubmit those entries as well, as it's not just like a one bite of the cherry situation. All right, let us take a break for the bingo numbers. Good luck if you're playing today.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday, the 6th of December. You're playing on the blue sheet. The reference number is S3. It's game number 49. The numbers are 60, 73, 72, 83, 42, 76, 2, 36, 33, and finally 84. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €7.5 million. Play responsibly in store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
It's flu season, and children are twice as likely as adults to catch the flu, which can sometimes cause serious illness. That's why all children aged 2 to 17 can get their free nasal spray flu vaccine, a safe and effective way to protect them, and the rest of your family too. So make an appointment with your GP or pharmacist. Visit hsc.ie/flu for more information. From the HSC.
At Joe McGee Butchers, we have all your needs to make this Christmas dinner extra special. So, if it's a fresh whole turkey, a turkey breast fillet in a vac-pack cooking bag with a cooking pop-up timer, a ham joint or a succulent dry-aged sirloin steak, then call in to Joe McGee Butchers at Glencar Shopping Centre and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, where we have Christmas all wrapped up for you.
9 till noon show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
OK, so we learnt this week that the Department of Integration has confirmed it can no longer provide accommodation to all international protection applicants. A spokesperson for the department says tents and sleeping bags will be provided to people where required due to a severe shortage of housing. A total of 107 people were accommodated over the weekend. However, from earlier this week, the state is not in a position to accommodate everyone. Women and children will still be housed, and it seems open-ended as well. Bulume Dube is Community Links Officer for the Donegal Intercultural Platform, and he's in studio with me now. Bulume, thanks so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
What's your reaction to this news?
Well, I think obviously it's preposterous. I mean, it's unacceptable that people should be living on the street. The Irish government has got a duty to take care of people that are seeking international protection and people that are Irish, because I also feel this has got a potential of putting local people, Irish people, and international protection applicants at loggerheads. But the actual person to blame here is the government. That's just not providing housing for everyone.
Yeah, and of course, you know, we did hear that in November there was a record intake in terms of corporate tax, and we have more money at this time now than we anticipated. So it's not either or. You know what I mean? A lot of people would feel that is up to the state, if it has signed up to international obligations, that they meet those, rather than this situation we're seeing now, where, as you say, different groups of people are being pitched against each other. It's horrible to see it, isn't it, around the country?
Yeah, that's true. Well, the government has always been aware, as early as 2018, that there was a shortage of housing, particularly for asylum seekers. You know, so this is not new. This is something that has always been known. Unfortunately, of course, you have to accept that there's a huge number of international applicants, but this could all have been sorted much earlier. In 2018, the government knew that there was high volumes of people in direct provision and that there was not enough housing. And they could have been proactive and actually done something about it.
Well, we've been talking about people being stuck in inverted commas in direct provision for ages. That used to be the big story, didn't it? Mm-hmm. What about this? There seems to be some people seem to distinguish between people fleeing from Ukraine and international protection applicants. You'd be familiar with this terminology that's used quite widely now, that people are fearful of large groups or even individual young men from Africa, or Muslim men, whatever it might be, young military-aged men coming to Ireland. That seems to be the pinch point there of people's fears and anxieties. Do you get that? Do you understand that? Does it frustrate you? Does it annoy you?
Well, the first thing, I think there's actually no need to fear people. I mean, we are all human beings at the end of the day, and people come here for various reasons, because they are fleeing, running away from some form of danger. I suppose, to a certain extent, again, you could blame the government as well for not preparing the Irish people and educating them about the reasons why people are coming here. I think there should be programs. There should be an investment in community education about why people come here.
But the policy is actually not to consult with local communities at all. At all, it seems.
Yes. Yeah,
Let alone educate, but simply not say what's happening.
Yeah, I suppose, again, the fault falls directly in front of the government, again, that it should be making proactive attempts to actually integrate those people, make people aware who is coming through and why they are coming through, and make the community aware. Like you are saying, consult the community as well. It should be a consultative, participatory approach to things instead of imposing as well. Because I suppose everybody wants to be welcomed instead of being regarded with fear.
Do you think, though, the genie's out of the bottle, that it's going to be hard to fix the feelings that are out there now, the fear, the concerns, the anger? We've seen what happened in Dublin. Thursday week last. I mean, obviously, an awful lot of it was just antisocial behaviour and rioting, but it was rooted in this concern about mass immigration.
Yeah. Well, again, I suppose the anger is directed at the wrong people. I mean, if it was a protest against the government's lack of action in terms of housing and providing social care, then that protest would have been applauded as right. But again, it's not the immigrants' fault that the government is not providing or is not taking responsibility, So I think the anger is directed at the wrong people. The immigrant is not the reason why there's no housing or that social services are feeling so much pressure.
Well, with that in mind, then, Balume, and I'm just using this to tease this conversation out because I'm really a big fan of talking.
Yes.
When we don't talk, we have problems. Is it the case then that until such time as we get the house in order, that we get a proper accommodation, that we improve services such as access to GP services, acute hospitals, schools, places, and what have you? Is there an argument that we stem the flow of immigration into the country so that at the very least we can provide those that are here and the new residents of Ireland here with proper services rather than inviting people into a broken service?
Well, I don't know whether you really invite people, because people are sort of...
you just used that word, to be honest, because I struggled for a word. Accept people, whatever the word might be. That's no meaning to that word. It was just a word to try and describe the point.
My point is, really, I don't think you can get to a point where you say immigration should stop so that we can fix this. These things occur concurrently. I mean, when the Irish government signed up to this, it knew that it had, deficits in terms of housing, and they could have anticipated that there was going to be pressure on social services. I mean, it's a given that if you've got a new group of people coming in, they'll use your services, and you cannot subscribe to something where you cannot be able to provide. And like you said earlier on, Ireland is equipped with financial resources to actually be able to provide those services. It lacks maybe political will, political impetus to actually provide housing and provide not only for the asylum seekers, by the way, but for its own people. Even if you took away asylum seekers, you still have got a problem in terms of provision.
We've had a housing problem,
so I think,
and a homeless problem that predates any increase in international applications, protection applications, or the situation in Ukraine. I think we know that that's the case. So, and also what the situation we find now, and I don't have any solutions to this, but what we're going to have now is parts of Dublin, most likely, where there's going to be large groups of individuals, that are going to be living in tents. And, people are going to take pictures of that and video it, and it's going to create this imagery, right? Which is, again, really going to be counterproductive. Because we've seen these tented areas burned down in the past. They have been attacked.
Well, again, I suppose civic society has got a huge role to play in terms of that, We cannot anticipate the negative and say this is what is going to happen. Why should that be happening? We should be talking to people, engaging with everybody involved in terms of there's a problem of housing. You've got people sleeping in the streets. We should not be anticipating that they're going to be bent down or they're going to be hit or assaulted, and that we should be finding solutions, really, At the end of the day, even the people that were protesting, they're protesting against the government because the government is not providing social services. If they were well catered for, there would not be any of that.
I really do think it's very, very important that we have these conversations out in front. I don't think... obviously housing is the issue. But an awful lot of what seems to motivate the conversation online is someone's religion or the colour of their skin or an area changing or Irish tradition being lost. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes for some of the commentators, the housing is a smokescreen, really. But if you deep down, it's Ireland for the Irish. Ireland is full. Now, an awful lot of these people can't even speak Irish, which I find is really quite ironic. But anyway, so... are we sort of in a cultural shift in Ireland that we just have to come to terms with? Is that your view, really? Because I think if everyone had a house, Balumi, if everyone had a house, I think we'd still be probably having these conversations, but in a different way. Because people are seeing cultural changes in their community, and some people are instilling fear and saying, well, that's a very bad thing. These people are going to hurt you. These people are going to rape your women. Do you know what I mean? And that's the language that's unfounded,
obviously. That's very unfounded.
Let me just back you up on that before you answer the point. At the recent, we've made many inquiry to the Gardaí, and the senior Gardaí in the county at a recent meeting in Letterkenny said that with the arrival of new people into Donegal, it has not in any way changed the dynamics of crime.
I can't get with that. It takes forever for culture to change.
So that statistically is true, right? So talk to me about the people that feel that Ireland's culture is at threat and that, it's changing and Because I think that's what's driving a lot of fear.
Look, for me, I think this is an opportunity for Ireland to actually live 50 years ahead of time. This is what the world is going to be. You will find people living in the same space, practicing different cultures, different religions in 50 years. And it's unprecedented. We won't be able to stop that. You'll find Irish people deep down in South Africa, Zimbabwe, living there for one reason or another. The concept of migration is forever. So the question of whether your culture is going to change or not is also essentially about whether we put social programs that actually protect cultures, that protect religion, but also help people to integrate, to actually relate with each other without necessarily saying our intention is to change anyone, Of
the people, have you been speaking to any new international protection arrivals just to get a sense of what they're fleeing? Because again, it's put out there that really they see Ireland as a welfare state and it's a good place to come and make a few quid or whatever it might be. What are, in your experience, what are people fleeing? What are they fleeing to come here in terms of risk to their lives, oppression, or whatever?
So there are a plethora of reasons why people actually flee from their homes. But let me just emphasize this. Nobody runs away from their home just to come and stay in it. Exactly, yes. Home is where everybody would want to be. And I'll tell you, 90% of the people would rather be at home. But the things that they are running away are grievous. They are grave situations which are actually life-threatening. Nobody would want to live here and say, well, I want to live in somebody's home for the next whatever years, So some people are fleeing war. Some people are fleeing political persecution, religious persecution. There's a plethora of reasons why people come here. Definitely not for the €38 that they get weekly. I mean, that's way less than what a person will be getting wherever they live. Yeah. And remember, again, nobody wants to leave their home. Home, no matter how poor it is home. It brings comfort and so on.
There's a lot of problems in this country, but at the same time, maybe we take for granted the country in which we live in, the freedoms that we have, the opportunities that we have. Do you think that maybe for a lot of people, they don't actually fully understand what is actually happening in other areas? Like, for an example, the situation in the Ukraine caused an awful lot of hostility, civil war, violence in parts of Africa, for an example, that people don't really see what's going on outside of just whatever Sky News or BBC News present them, that Russia have activities in other parts of the world, and that, there are an awful lot of areas that are very, very unsafe to live in.
Yes. I suppose, again, perhaps that's an area which civic society can actually play in educating people about what's going on around the world. People don't really come here because they feel like going on a holiday. It's difficult. It's very difficult being away from home. And some people have been here for longer than 20 years. I mean, that's not fun to be away from your family and friends and that. Some people have no choice, really. They've got nowhere else to go. They're stateless, So, yes, people need to be educated about what's going on in Southern Africa, what's going on in South America, what's going on in Somalia, Sudan. There's war all over the world. And not only
Yemen,
that,
everywhere,
but they should also be educated to a point where they can actually take action and help civic organizations to make a change in those countries, so that people don't. That's the only way you can stem the flow of people coming here, is by actually taking part in political activities that are social change activities in other countries.
But in terms of the demographic of the international protection applicants, what we see majority is younger fellas, right?
Yes.
They're not necessarily, are they under more threat than the women and children? Is it that they come, or not here, or go to any country with a view to establishing a base so they can be joined by their family, by their partners, or their mother or their father? Why is it the majority of international protection applicants are men?
I don't know if that is true. I don't know if that is true. And if it were true, I suppose the younger you are, the more able you can be.
But is it with a view to trying to find somewhere safe for your family? Like, is it likely that a lot of these applicants, if successful in getting residency here, would want to be joined by their families, or?
Not necessarily. If you are fleeing war, or if you are fleeing persecution of any sort, you just look for a place where you can find refuge.
Okay.
You don't think of, okay, I'll go first and then my family will follow. There's no logic in that when you're running away from danger.
The only reason I ask is because I'm trying to sort
not at all. I think that's a perception that is mostly perpetrated by people that assume that people are here to siphon the social welfare system, or that people are running away from danger.
Yeah,
the people are running away from possible death. So when you run away, in fact, if I were to give you an example, there are refugees in Congo. There are refugees in Kenya. There are refugees in poor countries. Not all refugees run away to areas where countries are rich.
Yes.
Yes. So that's exactly my point, that people are running away from danger, from any sort of danger, wherever they could go, where they can find.
I wasn't suggesting.
And the reason why they are young is because they are able to run away. Old people probably will not have the capacity to do so.
I understand that, but I would also find it hard to leave my family behind me. You know what I mean? So I wasn't questioning it in a negative way, but I would struggle to leave my family behind me and travel to another country. So it was an honest question. Like, is that the plan? Not because of money or whatever, for opportunity and safety.
Yeah, but the younger you are, the more opportunities you probably will have. You have some people have to walk, in actual fact, to be able to run away from situations.
Yeah.
So ordinarily you'll find younger people because they've got nothing to lose from living anyway, So the demographic, if that is true anyway, that you've got young people and so on. I also think that the reason why people have got that perception that it's young people mostly is because you've got young people that are grouped into certain houses,
for sure,
and then you find them in one house. But you've got all sorts of democratic. You've got old people coming here. You've got young people, and so yes.
Listen, that's why we're chatting.
Yeah.
That's why we're chatting to get different points of views and perspectives.
Yeah.
You believe that there is room, that it shouldn't come down to tents. You believe there is available space around the country that the government should be looking at?
Well, yes, I do believe that. For instance, there are certain rural, towns that have got a high incidence of free rooms and that. But again, I'm not a specialist in terms of rural housing or housing for asylum seekers. All I'm saying is that the government should have been proactive in sort of sorting this out. As early as 2018, they've been aware that these high volumes of asylum seekers, and then that accommodation is full, and they've done nothing about it since that time. And like you said again, they've got the resources to actually sort this out. They do have the resources, and I suppose the fact that they also have got an obligation to provide that. If you have signed up for something, then the logical thing is to provide the accommodation.
Sorry, dropped something there. So what do you say then to people that say, yes, okay, I'm not against immigration, but we should look after the Irish people first?
Well, you should look after all people. That's the right thing to do. If the Irish people were out there in the cold and they didn't have housing, I would feel, obliged that I should protest as well. I should say something about it.
And I'm not coming from an opinion based as such, because I want to hear your opinion. But I do read, and I do find statistics are incredibly important, and it is very, very important to note that for generations we have had homeless people. We've had a shortage of accommodation. We have 1 in 7 children in poverty in this country. It's probably much higher here in Donegal. A lot of these problems are historic, and it's actually, if you were in government, you go, right, this is great, because now it's not the government that's getting the hassle, it's the immigrants that are getting the hassle. But we had all of these problems pre-Ukraine, the numbers of international protection. So I don't buy that argument. And that's why I come back to the cultural thing, whether people are afraid of the cultural changing, because as I say, anyone who knows that we've always had these problems. So you say that, the world is going to change anyway. So if someone says to you, we want our Irish culture, we want Ireland for the Irish, we want Ireland to remain the way it is, you're saying, forget about that, not disrespectfully or argumentatively, you'll say, forget about that, things are going to change anyway, and they're going to change all across the world. Or what are you saying?
No. There is it's important to respect the Irish culture. It's important to respect any culture. But culture can exist, they can all exist in one space. Yeah. Yes, they can coexist in one space. There is no need for anybody to be afraid that their culture is going to be lost. But again, the government has to play a part in this. Civic society has to play a part in this. You have to create systems that actually protect culture, And again, I do not feel that the presence of an asylum seeker next door has got any effect on your culture. How? People can practice their culture and still coexist,
It reminds me. Yeah. It reminds me of an old. I don't know if you're familiar with the band Public Enemy, but they had a very interesting song on all of them. It was effectively about fear, and fear of change. Okay. Anything that you want to add, Bulume? I hope you don't think I'm coming across as anti anything. I'm not. I just really, as I say, and I'm sorry to reiterate this, I just think talking is so important, you see, and I could try and hide away from phrasing certain questions towards you for fear of offending you. Yeah. I don't think there's any benefit in that.
No, not at all.
I think we have to have respectful, open conversations, and it's really interesting to hear from your perspective, the attitudes, whether people like it or not, but they're hearing the words from your mouth.
Yeah, I think, it's a good platform to sort of start these conversations, and I agree with you that we need to have this kind of dialogue, There's no need for people to be afraid of each other. In fact, in most of my association with Irish people, we sit down and talk about these things. And honestly, we get to a point where we realize there's nothing to be afraid of. But sometimes you also realize that there is a need to put pressure on the government to do something, to fund social projects, to fund community projects that can actually help people to come together and realize that there's nothing to be afraid of.
It's kind of strange too, Bulume, that we're revisiting this conversation when we are now, because I really feel sorry for, there's a huge population of second-generation immigrants in this country, young black kids, young Muslim kids in schools, children of colour who were born here. They're 15, 16, 17 years of age now. The parents might work down in the hospital or somewhere else, and they're being looked at as if they just came into the country yesterday. It must be really tough.
Yeah.
It must be really tough to have at this stage of your life all of a sudden feel like, well, why are people conversing about whether I should be here or not?
That's true.
Because there is... Yeah. And I just wonder if those people have a voice as life changed for those young people. Our nurses who are in the hospital for the last 15 years all of a sudden getting sideways looks walking down the streets of Letterkenny. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because people think, have you just come in on a bus?
Yeah, most immigrants that are here find a source of income. They work hard. They contribute to Irish society in one way or another. They go to school and try to educate themselves about the Irish culture and Irish ways, and they get a job and they work. They contribute to the tax system, So really, at the end of the day, I think maybe we need to get to a point where we learn something from each other. Without really talking about the government and civic society, whenever we meet, we need to talk and realize and find, common ground. There's a lot we can learn from each other.
There is. And, there's not a great deal of logic if we weren't in this situation, we were just in the street and I blamed you for me not having a house.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know how long you've been living here, but do you know what I mean? It's not, you don't provide the house, you don't take the house from me. There is a very well-funded organisation, i.e. the state, that their duty is to provide both of us a house. So why should I fall out with you? Because
that's true. That's so true.
Like that, on a very basic level. Now, as I say, I'm not all woke and everything's rose in the garden. I every day for me is a learning day, and my opinions are always changing and moving and what have you. But I do believe in statistics. I believe in history.
Yes.
And I believe that also you need to direct your anger in the right directions as well.
Yes.
When I say anger, I mean your drive and your motivation.
Yes. So the pressure should be put on the government really at this point to try and provide housing. So that there's no conflict between communities, and that will be sorted easily.
Finally, COP28's ongoing at the moment. They've created a fund. We're contributing it to sort of, you know, what the West, the damage it is doing to countries in other parts of the world. Do you believe the West should be doing more, or, you know, Europe should be doing more to make areas in Africa, in Asia, or wherever they might be, more hospitable, more peaceful? Like, in other words, I presume you said most people would like to stay where they are. But with the way the world is going, people are being driven from their homes effectively by the action of a small group of other countries. Do you think we need to be also at the same time doing more to make people's home countries more hospitable, more prosperous, more safe?
Oh, yes. I had this conversation with my manager just recently, and I was saying to him the same thing you're suggesting now, that, you know, in the 80s, independence in Southern Africa was won by people all over the world. There were protests in London to free Nelson Mandela. There were protests everywhere so that there was liberation in Africa. The same thing should be happening. Instead of chasing away asylum seekers, you should be saying, how can we help you so that you solve the problems that you have at home? It will take a long time to solve, but that's the only way you can be able to sort of stem this influx of immigrants moving, you know, into the so-called rich areas. Take part in civic activity to change things.
And another thing, just to make that point too, and it's very, very clear, and if you look at some of the documentation from Russia and what have you, it is very clear that Vladimir Putin, whether you love him or loathe him, most people loathe him, of course, is that part of his strategy was to cause unrest by driving Ukrainians into other countries.
Yes.
I mean, that
exactly
was his strategy.
Today. Yes.
And then he says, if we keep enough of these people out of Ukraine and in other countries, well, then all of a sudden the support of the West will start to wobble because we start having the conversations that are happening here now. So displacement of people is actually now a tool of war.
That's very true. And in actual fact, if you go to a point where negotiations could take place, in some situations, sometimes war is preventable with the support of everybody else, you know. But there will be instances where you will have situations where people are driven out of a country by situations that you can't control, like climate change. And that is not just going to affect Africa or a certain poor country. It's going to affect every part of the world. Ireland itself might have that kind of problem. And if they were to move themselves, will they accept the same reception, you know?
Well, many of us have moved. And when I talk about how so many of us have moved to England, to Dubai, to Australia, to America, people automatically come back and go, yes, but we go over there and work.
But, you know, even immigrants here, if you go to, you know, accommodation centers, at this moment, you probably will not find anybody there because all of them are going to look for work or they are all employed, you know. So they are not people that are here really to come and scare anyone or to hurt anyone. If you listen to their stories, you'll realize that there are people that are here to contribute. There are people that are here to start a new life. There are people that have run away from a certain situation. If they were comfortable, they'll not be here, you know.
Yeah. All right. Listen, it's been an interesting conversation, Bilume.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for calling up. We'll keep the lines of communication open. I think it's always good to talk and hear different views and stuff. But for now, Bilume Dube, Community Links Officer for Donegal Intercultural Platform, thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
At PTSB, we know our customers' needs are evolving. So we're evolving too, by bringing the best of technology and people together. Every interaction, every innovation, and every connection is built upon a better understanding of you. And it all comes together to create a banking experience that's altogether more human. PTSB, altogether more human. Permanent TSB PLC trading as PTSB is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Uisce Éireann is Ireland's national water utility, responsible for delivering clean, safe and reliable national public drinking water and wastewater services for Ireland. For any questions about public water services or to report an issue in your area, we can be contacted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 1800 278 278 or visit water.ie. Ishka Erin. Delivering water services for Ireland.
You know me, I do like a home that's warm and cosy during these cold winter months. In fact, the warmer and cosier, the better. That's why I insist on Willow Warm long burning briquettes. They're grown and made here in Ireland, and they're 100% carbon neutral. So Willow Warm briquettes are good for the environment, for the country, and your pocket. Willow Warm, the brighter, cleaner, greener way to a cosy home. See willowwarm.ie for stockists.
Spoil someone with a beautiful fragrance this Christmas from McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Choose by designer, budget or celebrity. Top names like Clarins, Burberry, Gucci and Dolce & Gabbana. Also great prices on Calvin Klein, Flower Bomb and so many more. The best fragrant gift sets available this year can also be found in McGee's Chemist Main Street Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie. McGee's, where the best costs less.
Order your new 241 Suzuki with 0% finance from Barry Brown Cars Milford, main Suzuki dealer in Donegal. Order your 241 Suzuki, one of the most reliable and cost-effective brands on the market, with 0% finance on selected models. So get down to Barry Brown Cars Milford, Suzuki Sales Dealer of the Year, and secure your 241 today.
All right. I just feel at this day, in this day and age, that people are kind of locked into their opinions now, and I just wonder if anyone listening to that last conversation has had their views changed one way or other. It'd be interesting to hear from you too. 086 60 25,000. Like, did you listen to that and go, well, maybe I don't think like that anymore, or I do think, or maybe I think like that more now? Interesting, just would be interesting as a sort of a bit of a social study to see if those types of conversations, which will always have, you know, do impact people in any meaningful way. Or are we now so enshrined in our opinions or entrenched in our opinions that it doesn't really matter what anyone says anymore? If the persecution in these countries is as bad as these illegals say, why isn't the EU sending an invasion force to remind the various regimes? The truth is, Greg, they're coming here for the money, and their presence is no help to those who are genuine, like the Ukrainians, caller says. Ask your guest why this is in some cases the fifth country they've landed in. Another, the sense of entitlement of that gentleman is beyond belief, coming here and dictating to us about not giving them enough. Most people I know are more than generous in trying to give as much as they can afford. Can't understand how we're considered a rich country. I'm working all my life and I'm not rich, but I contribute what I can. But our way of life, our freedom, contributed to a quite happy lifestyle. Good morning, Greg. Asked that man what country he landed in, Europe, before flying into Ireland. I'm not sure how long he's been here for, probably a long time. Let every other country look after itself. We've enough to look after our own and can't even do this. But I will say, just for the conversation, a lot of the looking after in this country is done by people from other countries. That is just the way it is. So what are you saying? That if we are going to look after ourselves, do we clear everybody out? And who works in all the jobs that immigrants do in this country? Or do you say you want your cake and eat it, say, right, well, we'll keep in the ones now that are there useful and get rid of the ones I don't like? You know, what does that mean when someone says, let every other country look after ourselves, we've enough to look after our own and can't even do this? So are you saying anyone who is not originally from here goes, and if that happens, the health system collapses? So what do we do then? I'm just, as I say, I'm not expressing a point of view. It's a counterpoint to that, just to make us think or not think. Hi, it makes sense. Sorry, that's a different one there. All right, Greg, people are not against immigration. What they are starting to object to is the unlimited number of people where we have no place to put them, which is ridiculous. Another problem is, as this gentleman said, it's an inept government policy. Irish people have always been very generous, but we always try to help people. Good morning, Greg. These people are guests in our country, yet want us to change it to suit. Imagine calling around to that man's house and start changing his house decor. He wouldn't allow it. Another, good morning, Greg. Will you tell that man that the government's first obligation is to its people, yet they put immigrants first? Now we're full. They are complaining about the government. The HSC are the people who have fills up Ireland. In no time, a bucket only holds so much water. It is the government's fault for letting too many in at the behest of the EU. Well, it's not the behest of the EU. This is something we voluntarily signed up for. The majority want immigration curbed. For God's sake, it's obvious we can't take and don't want anymore. We are being taken for mugs, believes this listener. Has that gentleman no blame for his own government? Our government can't make houses pop up like mushrooms. Our working population is meant to provide for all those driving into our country, as well as try and provide for our families. We can only help so many. Another, I've registered 2 rooms in my house to help with this a number of months ago. I got a return call to confirm my offer, but I've heard nothing since. Greg, why does the Irish government owe foreigners a home whilst we have to pay for it all, says a listener, and on it goes. Thank you very much for all of your comments. If you have a positive comment as well too, please, I would appreciate you getting the phone out and sending it as well, just for balance. But maybe that is the majority of you as well, which is it is the way it is. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts to that number. The weather forecast around the corner.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. 2 floors of men's winter fashions. This Christmas, it has to be Evolve, Letterkenny Retail Park, or online at evolveclothing.com. Open 7 days.
Is fúine atá sé leictreachas a úsáid bhealach níos cliste agus níos glise. Ag Electric Ireland, táimeann seach an tróir a thuirteart. Le faisnéis fleanana méidir cliste, luchtú EV sáile agus panéil ghréine in our net zero hub nua. Déan dúsáid níos soléire, turis níos glise, baile níos teolaí agus saol níos giile. Tuilleadh eolais ag electricireland.ie.
The sound of the keys to your new 241 Skoda waiting for you to collect in early 2024. Whether it's the fully electric Enyaq, the 7-seat Kodiaq, or the legendary Octavia, avoid disappointment and avail of our special offers by ordering early. Skoda, let's explore.
Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clare Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 9721 396 or visit dmgmotors.ie.
Sporting gifts this Christmas. Try Brian McCormick Sports. BBE boxing gloves and accessories. Unicorn dartboards and cabinets. BCE and Riley fold-away pool tables. Click on bmcsports.ie to see the new range. High-vis running jackets with high-vis hats, vests and accessories. Garmin watches to keep you on track. Give the gift of sport this Christmas. Try a BMC Sports gift voucher.
House to Home Bridgend, Donegal. Our modest front door opens onto 2 floors of Irish-made furniture, suites, beds, mattresses, dining and occasional furniture. Step into our showroom and see how we can transform your house into a home. House to Home furniture, flooring, slide robes and interiors, Bridgend, Donegal.
Whatever the weather, Christmas shopping in Letterkenny will brighten your December. The Highland Weather Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
Yeah, we've seen a bit of a change in the weather, haven't we? I'll open it up for you right now to let you know what's going on today. Hopefully most of the ice is cleared at this point, but just be extra careful. You never know. Where is my weather forecast gone? I don't even know how to spell weather anymore. Anyway, I can tell you that the weather for today will be wet with spells of rain or drizzle. The rain will be heavy at times and may cause spot flooding. Isolated thunderstorms are possible later. It'll become windy this afternoon and evening with fresh to strong and gusty southeasterly winds. Highest temperatures this afternoon 6 or 7 degrees, so a little bit more milder. Hi, it makes sense for On Green On to be locked. Can you imagine someone slipping down the stone steps? There would be a claim made for sure. Yeah, okay, well... But where is the personal responsibility? Like, if we slip on a set of steps now, is it someone else's fault? I mean, what about personal responsibility? But anyway, yesterday's smud slinging from Fine Gael and an opposition party has got to be a signal to the people how desperate they are to hold on to power. Back to our conversation we had earlier this hour. Which African country offers social welfare payments at the rates we do? No, but there's always something better than where you came from. There wouldn't be the anger out there if the government had housed the Irish homeless first. This could have been done years ago. Knowing what we know now, we were told there was enough money, but all of a sudden, and it's really been all of a sudden, They housed over 100,000 in a matter of 2 years. Irish people have an anger against the government, not the people coming in, but when is enough enough? It's clearly the country can't continue this open door policy. And listen, at the end of the day, the housing solution that we've employed, you talked about housing over 100,000, that's not a long-term solution either. All of those people really would need to be put into decent long-term accommodation, wouldn't they? Because, you know, a hotel room one night with one child is tough. You wouldn't want to live in that situation, would you? Or maybe it's better than what you're fleeing and you've no sympathy at all. Okay, back with news.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing, Letterkenny Retail Park. Shop Lyle and Scott, Farah, Gant, Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, and online at evolveclothing.com.
Sha, Rocky May colour bell biog. Levela one ella. Gola ella. Gain docher yenikse.
Tá roinnt cúisina ann go ggurtar macham suas na bhithidí, ach tá ihe bhá codalta cheann den na ceithre nósna a chairíonn leat. Tuilleadh eolas ag gov.ie/an tosaí machán fallán. Tionscannibh de chud rialtas na hÉireann.
The government's Connecting Ireland Rural Mobility Plan is rolling out more public transport nationwide. This year, 36 new and enhanced TFI local link bus services and 4 new and enhanced bus Éireann routes have launched. With 22 more to come before the year ends, that's more than one a week. Rail services are also being upgraded with a greener, cleaner fleet. Each time you choose public transport, it helps reduce Ireland's transport emissions. Wherever you're going, your journey counts. Visit gov.ie/your journey counts. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off on all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring. Stores nationwide. Sale extended until Sunday.
Country Sundays at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny. Sunday 10th of December, there's Derek Ryan and his band. Sunday 17th of December, Michael English and his band. Doors open at 8:30 with dancing 9 till 11. Admission €15 at the door. B&B plus ticket only €70 per person sharing. Country Sundays at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny.
Don't miss the BAFTA award-winning comedian Michael McIntyre's brand new show, Magnificent, at the SSC Arena Belfast on Friday the 31st of May 2024. As always, Highland Radio make it easy for you as we look after all your needs. We will provide luxury transfers, overnight stay at the Clayton Hotel Belfast on a B&B basis, your ticket to the show, shopping time in Belfast City Centre. For more information, go to the outlet at highlandradio.com or give us a call on 074 91 25000. Michael McIntyre in Belfast, the perfect gift this Christmas.
Cooney's Christmas shop has gone mad this Christmas with massive reductions on trees and lights. 7-foot Colorado was $299, now only $129. 7-foot Prelit was $289, now only $199. 1,000 tree bright lights was $79, now only $39.99. Need battery lights for your garland were $7.99, now only $5.99. Hurry though, only while stocks last. Cooney's Christmas shop, Letterkenny Retail Park, Letterkenny. Open 7 days and making Christmas magical.
And now, IMRO's 2023 Best Local or Regional News Programme, the voice of the Northwest, the 9 till Noon Show, with Greg Hughes.
All right, another interesting hour on the way. Stay right where you are. But at 11 o'clock, let's get a news update. It's over now to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Dáil has heard how a Donegal man's life was destroyed by feelings by Tusla after being falsely accused of abusing his son and daughter. Donegal Deputy Pearse Doherty raised the case of William Porter this morning and claims Tusla seemingly fabricated the allegations, including the recording of a false confession, which was only brought to the attention of Mr. Porter through a Freedom of Information request. Mr. Porter is said to have developed significant health problems due to the stress caused by the false accusations dating back to 2010. The Minister for Children, Equality, Disability Integration and Youth, Roderick O'Gorman, says the government is seeking an urgent report from Tusla on the matter. The steering committee of the British Irish Parliamentary Assembly has corrected a drafting error which led to allegations that some ambulances from Northern Ireland were unable to cross the border into Donegal in the wake of the Creeslot tragedy. An updated report correcting the error has now been adopted. Families living in unfinished housing estates affected by defective blocks are stuck in limbo. Concerns have been raised that estates not yet taken over by Donegal County Council face a lengthy wait to access the defective concrete block grant scheme. Councillor Paul Canning says those homeowners are unable to obtain a compliance certificate needed to engage with the scheme. Israel's military says it has engaged in intensive battles in Gaza with its forces in the heart of the territory's second largest city. Hospitals say they've run out of floor space to treat people. Finn Harps and the Letterkenny Regional Sports Activity Hub are to share over €800,000 in funding. The monies announced today by Minister Catherine Martin will see over €326,000 going to the Letterkenny Regional Sports Activity Hub, while Finn Harps will benefit from €693,550. And a status yellow wind warning has been issued for Donegal today. Met Éireann says it will be very windy for a time today, with south-east winds gusting up to 100 km per hour in some areas. Motorists are advised to expect difficult travelling conditions as a result and be on alert for fallen branches and weakened trees. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Michaela, thank you very much indeed.
The Department of Social Protection is working to improve disability payments in Ireland. There is currently a consultation on how these payments might work better in the future. We want to hear your views on how the system might be improved. To find out more, please visit gov.ie/disability payments reform. A Government of Ireland initiative brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
Now, I want to play a very special happy birthday request to Neil McHugh from Falcarra. Neil is 94 this week and is a regular listener to the show. Neil, thank you very much indeed. I hope you're keeping well, Neil, and it's great to have you listening to the programme. Hope you had a lovely day yesterday, and who's to say the celebrations won't last all week? But have a lovely day, Neil. Have a lovely day, Neil, from all the family, but especially all of us here at the 9 till noon show. We hope you had a wonderful, wonderful day, Neil, and it's great to have you listening. Happy 18th birthday to Ella McBride in Kerrykeele from Granny and Grandad today. Happy 18th birthday again to you, Ella, in Kerrykeele. Have a lovely day, this time from your mum, dad, Brian, Clara, Aisling and Cahir. Jimmy and Glenn, happy birthday to you from the McMenamins, the McCaffertys and the Fawns. It's great to have you all on board celebrating your birthdays today. Right, last call today for you to nominate someone who you believe is very special to receive a fabulous hamper from Cadbury. We've got one to give away today and one to give away tomorrow to a very special person in your life. And then on Friday, we have a €250 shop local voucher. Right, so we want you to tell us why you would send chocolate secretly to someone special this year. Why do they deserve it? What good reason do you have to send a Cadbury Secret Santa bar to? Tell us all about someone in your life who deserves your Secret Santa bar this year, but remember to keep it a secret. And if they're successful, we're going to sell them send them this big, beautiful Cadbury hamper. So call in and text the reason and to 086 60 25,000. Give us your name, address, and tell us who in your life deserves this special surprise and why. I'll read some more examples out before the end of the show. And just to remind you to look out for a poster near you if you want to send a Cadbury Secret Santa bar to someone special. They're popping up all over the country, or you can search Cadbury Secret Santa for more details. Full terms and conditions are available for you at cadbury.ie. Michelle Connaughton is Forza Union official in the Northwest region, which incorporates Donegal, Sligo and Leitrim branches. Michelle, good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Good morning. Thanks very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be on. Thanks very much.
Clerical staff in the HSE are staging a series of lunchtime protests around the country today and tomorrow. They're demanding a halt to a ban on recruitment. But before we talk about the importance of, for the reasons as to why they're protesting. Clerical staff is kind of a catch-all phrase, and some might think, oh, well, that's pen pushers or whatever, you know yourself. So I want people to have a true understanding of the work, the important work the clerical staff do in the HSE in the various departments and how it's crucial to the running of the executive.
Well, I think that You're right in that that's the interpretation sometimes of the clerical and admin and the managerial grades that work behind the scenes. We'll quite often hear about doctors and nurses and the pressures that they're under. But if you even take Letterkenny University Hospital as an example, we've got clerical and admin staff that vary from entry-level grade 3 all the way up to management level, and they cover your main switchboard. So if you ring the hospital looking to get through to a ward to talk about a family member or about your appointment or your x-ray, they are all our clerical and admin staff that man those phones and deal with those queries from patients and families across Donegal. And then you've got the ward clerks on the ward that do your letter to your GP when you're being discharged, or your result to a consultant. All of those sorts of things are the admin and clerical background support that go on a daily basis, 24 hours a day, to support the services across the HSE in our acute services and in our community services.
So the vital links in a chain, it's like trying to ride a bicycle with 4 or 5 links in that chain missing. It simply wouldn't work. The chain would be just lying on the floor.
Absolutely, absolutely, and there would be a crash of said bicycles. So
we'll park my metaphor there, if that's all right, Michelle. So what are our clerical staff, your union members, what are they actually looking for that has led to this protest?
So we've currently got this moratorium on recruitment that actually started with clerical and admin grades, and you may be aware that actually over recent weeks the HSE have extended that to most grades of staff within the HSE, excluding some doctors and nursing graduates and staff like that. But across all of the grades within the HSE, this moratorium is in place. And the effect of the moratorium means that when staff leave for whatever reason, be that retirement, maternity leaves, be it promotional opportunities, they are not being replaced at the moment. And this is having a severe effect coming into the winter period on all our services, both in the acute hospitals and in the community. So, and just like one...
Go ahead. No, I want the example, please, Michelle.
Yeah, so I was just going to give you one example in that in Letterkenny University Hospital at the moment, they have 20 plus vacancies of clerical and admin grades. And these are critical posts that involve new service development posts, staff replacements, maternity leave cover. And it has a knock-on effect both on the clinical staff who don't have their admin support, as well as admin staff having to carry the work of vacant posts. The hospital switchboard staffing level at the moment is at a critical level, and admin staff across the hospital are being asked to volunteer to cover those shifts to ensure that the switchboard is answered in LUH. So that just gives an example of the pressures that the staff are under at the moment.
And it's part of the problem too that sometimes things are introduced as a temporary measure and then all of a sudden become the norm. Like we can go back years ago where people, say for instance around 2008, 2009, where there was a freeze on pay increases, for an example. We've seen it with solicitors and others. And then, 10, 15 years later, those measures are still in place and people have lost out on an absolute fortune and career progression in the meantime. Is there a concern, as well as other concerns as well, that this is sort of trying to introduce a new norm?
We would have a concern. In the HSE, back when the financial crash happened, there was a moratorium in recruitment at that time that lasted the guts of 8 or 10 years without any kind of promotional opportunities for our clerical and admin members during that time. So obviously we would have major concerns for the career progression of our members within the HSE. And also, we're coming out of a COVID crisis. We are having to deal with a backlog from that. And so the HSE are putting all sorts of measures in and dealing with their, pushing forward with sláinte care, all of these new service developments that will be really beneficial to patients across the country, but they need to be resourced and staffed properly in order to work.
Yeah. And pardon my ignorance from the outside looking in, but if this is about budgets, for an example, and there's been much conversation about the HSE being underfunded, if there is a supplementary budget, a top-up, a bailout, however you might describe it, then these measures then should be reversed. And if they're not reversed, then it would point to a different motivation. As I say, that's an outside looking in interpretation. Is there any accuracy to that?
I would agree that these measures would need to be reversed if there is some intervention from the Minister and the Department of Health and further funding provided. Our clerical and admin grades and our grades across the HSE are not responsible for the overspend in the HSE. For an example,
but arguably they're the low-hanging fruit.
They absolutely are, and it comes back to our very first point in our conversation, in that the clerical and admin staff are very much underestimated and underappreciated in the provision of the services across the HSE.
Mm-hmm. Well, the protest at Letterkenny University Hospital gets underway at 12:45. Whether you realise it or not, you probably have engaged with some of these staff as part of that sort of network at the hospital. So you can go out and support them or give them a toot if that's what you're inclined to do. And we'll see where it goes from here. What's next, by the way, after this action, Michelle? This is this only today at Letterkenny, other places tomorrow? And then how do you ramp it up if you aren't successful in your aims?
So we've got these lunchtime protests happening at various sites tomorrow, Wednesday, today and tomorrow. And then our strike committee, that's part of our national health team in Dublin, will actually meet to decide where we go from here. Any of the engagements that we've had through the WRC with the HSE have failed to address our concerns, and even the ask of one person out, so one person leaving, that person being replaced, at the moment is being refused by the HSE. So our strike committee will actually meet after these demonstrations today and tomorrow and decide where we go from here.
All right, have a lovely day, Michelle. Thanks for your time. Michelle Connaughton, Forza Union official for this region here. Some of your comments here. Greg, I'm not a fan of Conor McGregor because I think the UFC stuff is too violent. What I think he's really responsible for is all these young boys running around wearing suits with jackets that are too small for them. Maybe it wasn't them, maybe it wasn't him, but I have it in my head that it was him who started this trend. Well, yeah, I think too, definitely the checked jackets and stuff. But you know what? Fair play to the young lean lads. If I had the figure for it, I'd probably bag on one of those jackets too. It just simply don't have it anymore. I'm like that. There's a meme goes around of a dog leaning against the wall. Don't Google it. The way politics is going throughout the world, i.e. Trump becoming president, and more recently in the Netherlands, Geert Wilders, who was voted in. So the idea of McGregor heading for the Irish doesn't surprise me, but giddy God, can you imagine if he actually won? Maybe he'd get a surprise. Though people... the one thing I'll say about the presidency, and what you'll see a lot of commentators on X say, is that, well, does he not realise that the presidency is there's no power to it? Well, there actually is quite a lot of power the president has. It's just it's not employed very often. Like, the president's position is reasonably powerful, to scrutinise legislation and what have you. Signing legislation, it can be there are powers that the president has that can defer that or refer that. So I don't think it's as powerless and ceremonial a position. I think that's what it's been turned into. But the president does have decent powers. And I'm convinced if someone like him, and I was poo-pooed a little bit in this comment, if someone like him comes forward, an anti-establishment vote, be it in a general election or a presidential election, they will do very well, because it'll be people that believe in them. It'll be people that don't normally vote but say, right, this is change. And it'll be a protest vote. So if he actually did get the nomination and did run, he would upset the apple cart. I'm not saying he'd win, but trust, he wouldn't get 2 or 3%. Morning, Greg. Sinn Féin aren't as revolutionary or ideological as their rhetoric implies, and their track record instalment reflects this. And although the question is not if Sinn Féin was right in bringing forward the motion of no confidence in the Justice Minister, They are the opposition. They think they have to do this to look good for the people of this country. But truth be told, Sinn Féin is no better than the government of this country. What did they say one time? We're all in this together. And the people know this. Sinn Féin are not the Sinn Féin of yesterday. They are in cahoots with the people who run this country 100%. Hi, Greg. Sinn Féin were right to try and get rid of Helen McEntee. If children being stabbed in broad daylight can't do it, nothing can. There have been 3 other knife incidents since then. Also, when it comes to Richard Boyd Barrett calling for intifada, that means violence against Jews, like suicide bombs in coffee shops. That's hate speech and anti-Semitic, and I did say it right at the top that that language under whatever the proposed hate speech laws certainly would have one toe in them in any case. Right. I think we were talking about I can't remember the name of the company, it's just escaped me, about a skin cancer melanoma diagnostic tool which the HSC has funded and approved but is not being adopted in the Sealta Hospital region. This caller says, so he wants the government to pay for a private service. On this occasion, I agree with the hospital. It's not the hospital that are against it as such. This is a Sealta situation. But anyway, why would they pay for a private service? It would end the possibility of a public service ever returning. Is this another private clinic so that they'll take away the public clinic? They're not paying a new doctor to come in. My dad got knee surgery done in Ballykelly. £23,000 is what he paid. Got £17,000 back. They didn't change the currency at that time, and that's why he wasn't fully reimbursed. If you're a medical card, you'll be on a wait. Can I just give you a piece of advice, by the way? If you haven't resolved that situation yet, will you please contact the Ombudsman? And file it with them, make a complaint with them, or make representations to them. Just don't accept it. If it was about they didn't change the currency and your dad's out £6,000, please, at the very least, not that it might do anything, but please raise a case with the Ombudsman. This is something that office is really, really interested in. But reading on here, if you have a medical card, you'll be on the wait list for 3 or 4 years. Private health insurance, and you're seen straight away. My neighbour was on a 3-year waiting list for hospital. She didn't pay because she was waiting for 3 years, and the hospital referred her. She didn't have to pay a penny. Is the Loch Salt Road clear today? Now, it's high up there, and there was a hard frost and ice, so if there is a clearance, it might take longer to clear the Loch Salt Road than others. Anyone been over it today? Is it safe? Let us know. I was told about an hour ago there's a lot of black ice on Grania's Gap, which doesn't sound very pleasant. So drive with care. A lot of black ice on Grania's Gap in Inishowen. Now, I just want to mention too, you're invited to join for a free evening of Christmas carols presented by the Inishowen Gateway Singers and the DCITS Choir. It's a free event, but donations can be made on the night in support of the annual Christmas Day dinner for people on their own. So you can go to this and contribute after a lovely night's entertainment, and you're supporting it's an annual Christmas Day dinner, which is a beautiful initiative which allows people on their own to come together or to get food on Christmas Day. Well, this event is on Sunday, December 10th, at 6:30pm, so that's this coming Sunday. 6th, okay, I thought that says 8. So it's on December 10th at 6:30pm, Church of the Irish Martyrs, Gortley Road, Ballyrain, Letterkenny.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
At Tesco, we're helping you become more Christmas. Brew up a storm with Lions Gold Blend 160 tea bags with €7.50, now €4. Cover your jumpers in crumbs with the full Pringles range was €3.49, now €1.50 each. And get in the festive spirit with Coca-Cola 20-pack and Coke Zero 24-pack cans were €18, now €10 each. Tesco. Every little helps. Club card required, subject to availability. Available in the majority of stores while stocks last. Prices may vary in express stores. See tesco.ie.
If you're thinking about changing your car in 2024, why not go electric? It can really help reduce transport emissions and your motoring costs. That's why the government is investing in electric vehicle charging infrastructure and supporting Ireland's transition to zero-emission journeys. Because wherever you're going, your journey counts. For more information on supports and grants from Zero Emission Vehicles Ireland, visit gov.ie/ZEVI. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Need help designing or understanding plumbing requirements for your new bathroom is not a problem. Our experienced staff are equipped to handle any type of bathroom installation, from a simple tap replacement to a complete bathroom overhaul. Call in and see us and view our checklist to make sure you have everything in order. It could save you money and a huge amount of hassle. McDade's Bathroom Plumbing Towers, Buncrana, making things simpler for you.
Find the Volkswagen new with the Caddy Cargo Transporter 6.1 Crafter and the new Amarok. With HP finance from 4.9% and service plans from $12.99 per month. Book your test drive at Connolly's Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles, Letterkenny, or visit connellys.ie. Terms and conditions apply. Finance provided by the way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Visit VolkswagenVans.ie for more information.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
The time now is 24 minutes past 11. Catherine McLoone of the Blue Stack Veterinary Clinic in Ballybuffet is with us this morning. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Now, it's said every single year that a puppy or a dog's not just for Christmas. And we throw it out there sometimes, but if you think about it, it's not, is it? You know what I mean? Like, it's a big, big, big responsibility. And you're advising parents, caregivers to think strongly about whether or not they can go through with this 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year, 15-year commitment.
Well, that's it, exactly. I mean, you said it's not just for Christmas. It is a big commitment. A lot of dog breeds tend to live till, like you said, 12, 13. The smaller breeds live a lot longer. And yes, it's Christmas as well isn't a great time. You're out, you're visiting people, you're partying, you've got lots of guests coming over. It's stressful for the new dog, all that sort of thing. You need to be around more. It is a commitment. You need to make sure that you're there if you get a puppy, to let the puppy out. If you rehome a dog, you've got to be around a lot more. And just think about it's a big commitment. It's think about what you're doing and all that sort of thing.
Well, let's talk about sort of the day-to-day commitment of dog ownership. What a dog requires, what kind of care it needs.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, it all depends on what age of dog as well. So I would never recommend leaving any dog all day. So if you're doing, a 9 to 6, 8 to 6, whatever job, and you're away all day, I don't think, a dog is the right sort of pet for you. You need not just for toilet breaks for the dog needs socialisation. They're sort of a pack animal. They want to be with you. They want to have a bit of contact with you and things like that. If you're having a puppy, if you're getting a puppy, again, they need to be let out every hour, every couple of hours. They need to have a play. They need to have training, all that sort of thing. And then the older dogs, they need the walks. So, they do need to get out, have their sniffs, go to the toilet, have a bit of exercise. And that is very, as well, dependent on the breed that you choose.
And I imagine, too, that's important to stable behaviour, that energy's burnt off, that, there is that bit of socialising, things that are normal. Because, we often say, say, for instance, if a dog snaps or bites or something like that there's often contributing reasons for that as well, too. We always blame the dogs. I think, us humans have a role to play as well.
Oh, 100%. 100%. There's always a reason behind everything. And a lot of the working breeds, so your collies, your pointers, your cocker spaniels, they need a job. And whether that's just going for a nice walk and having their sniffs and getting the ball and things, if they don't do that, their mental stimulation, they start finding... things, chewing things up, and we get cross with them, but it's because they're not getting enough mental stimulation, not just physical, running about. And like you said, with the snapping and things, there'll be cues in behaviour that has led to that. It won't just be the dog randomly snaps. There'll be cues that we're missing. And yeah, it's a lot of exercise and mental stimulation will help all of that as well.
They used to say that sorry seems to be the hardest word. I think no is often a much harder word as well. And I think too,
I think so.
We kind of talk about the responsibility and the commitment to a dog. But also, too, we have to think of a young person, 7 or 10 or 13 or whatever, that the idea of something, and no matter how much they tell you what they might do and how they might care for this animal,
I know.
Quite soon after that, depending on the child, and like dogs, we're all different, right? But, very soon that novelty can wear off. And it is mum, dad, granny and granddad that end up having to pick up the pieces there. Not just the practical stuff, but actually the socialisation, the playing, the walking and stuff. Because, young ones can change their minds really quite quickly and move on to the next exciting thing.
Yeah, so it has to be the adult's decision. It has to be, do you want a dog? Not just if your 6 or 7-year-old wants the dog. Do you want all of the taking it out last thing at night for the toilet, taking it for walks? And like you said, we unfortunately have a lot of people, not a lot, but a few people come into the clinic where their dogs have sort of anxiety. A lot of COVID puppies, a lot of people got dogs in lockdown, and then because of the situation, we couldn't socialise them. So it's all about that as well. It's if the adult is prepared to take on the dog for 10 to 12, years or longer, then that's great. But yes, I'm sure, kids, they move on to the next thing, don't they?
Yeah, for sure. And 2 years from like 11 till 13 is like a blooming lifetime. And also too, each dog has its own personality and it has to fit in as well. So I'd say there's people, you do see sometimes people post, we need to find a home for this dog because it's too lively for us, or it's too, you know what I mean? So the dog brings a personality into a home as well that you have to factor in. It might not be exactly all the bed of roses that you anticipated it might be.
No, exactly. And that was like going back to the breed, doing a bit of research, having a Google, asking your vet, for example, what breed do you think would suit? I've got young children. I don't like mud. I don't want a dog, maybe a big Labrador wouldn't be for you then, things like that, asking about the breed. But a dog is a wonderful pet. I don't want to put people off getting a dog. Not. It's just having a good think about it. And also, we've got so many rescue centres over the county that are inundated with dogs.
Well, they're full though, Catherine. So, it's up to people what they do individually, but you'd have to sort of morally say that, if you have dog homes full of dogs, to go and sort of source another one and bring it into the county as well. As I say, I'm not judging people. It's up to people what they do and all. But if you're a real dog lover, would you not sort of look to a rescue dog first? Maybe not guilting anyone, and I feel bad saying it.
No,
but,
not at all. No, exactly. I completely understand both sides. But that's what I was saying. We deal a lot with a lot of charities. I do think they don't like to rehome at this time of year because of the Christmas, getting a dog for Christmas. But definitely chat to the charities. I know there's a big one in Derry that's having to close one of its kennels, so a lot of dogs need rehoming there. So have a chat to your local charity, and then you can go and meet the dogs and see. And there's a lot of dogs that just, unfortunate circumstances. It might be that they're a beautiful, lovely dog, but their owners have had to move out of rented accommodation or something like that. So definitely chat to your local dog charities, and I would definitely go down that route and see. But I understand both sides. If people, the puppy situation, I understand both sides of the story. But
the puppy doesn't last long. Is there an argument to sort of saying it's a little bit like, trying to give up cigarettes or lose weight on the 1st of January, to wait a couple of months? So if the big push is on for Christmas, we'll leave that decision to February or April and then see,
definitely.
see if it's still
want it.
Yeah, exactly. Or even if you do, because even a couple of months. Because as well as that too, like even the freedom you might have, in terms of heading away for the day, going on holidays, heading around to visit people. If you have a dog, it can have, and the expense, it can. I'm not, as you say, I don't think either of us are trying to put anyone off, but you are taking on a real significant responsibility if you like your freedom of movement and stuff.
I know 100%. It's you won't be able to just drop and go, to Kildare Village for the day. You need to have somebody lined up, either family or a good dog kennels. Just do a bit of research. And like we said, we're not putting anyone off, but we want to try and minimise the dogs that go back into these rescue centres. So we want people to be aware of what they're taking on. And going back to the puppy, yes, a puppy is only a puppy for a few months, but they're blooming lively, I can tell you. So as long as you're prepared for that as well. We've got a young dog that we rescued, and Christ, it's my other dog is 8, and she's very calm compared to this pup. So I tell you, it's it's very different getting a puppy to a mature dog, that's for sure.
Let's see, whilst I have you, and I won't hold you much longer, but a few questions of people who, I'm not saying they're regretting the decisions, but why does my dog pee when it sees new people? Do you know?
Now, it can be one of two things. It can be excitement. So if it's a young dog and it's a really sociable dog, excitement of any form. So, running, jumping up, wagging their tail, like, oh, I'm so excited to see you. They can let out a little bit of wee, and that can be because they're so excited. And that can be just a young dog controlling its bladder.
Look, it can happen to the best of us.
It can also be nervousness. So really try and assess the dog's body language. So is the dog rushing up to people really excited and having a little dribble of wee? Then I wouldn't be too concerned about that. If the dog is cowering and is, tail in between its legs and then lets out a little bit of wee, that could be more sort of fear, nervousness, submissiveness. If they show their belly, it can be showing imagine they're a pack situation, that shows I'm at my most vulnerable, and I'm nervous. So just assessing the body language. And then obviously if it's an older dog, maybe think, is there any problem there? Is it incontinent? Is it, so there's a few things. I'd say if it's an excitement thing, it's just, pure excitement in a young dog.
My dog doesn't like it when I show physical affection to other people, like a hug or a kiss. She barks like crazy. What's this about? Now, if this is a long-term partner, there is quite a strange whole procedure one has to go through to try and acclimatise the dog to the situation, like your partner kissing the dog, for an example, and showing affection to it. But if it's everyone, I'd say this person secretly loves it. But obviously it's not great if you want to hug and kiss other people. But what do you do? The dog barks like crazy. It's jelly.
Yeah. It is, exactly. It's just jealous. It could be jealousy. It could be if the dog it depends what breed it is, if it's protective of its owner. It could be doesn't know that you're hugging. I mean, dogs don't hug, so it might be that they're worried that person is getting within their person's boundaries and they're a bit concerned. I mean, setting up situations where you've got a friend that's happy with dogs, getting treats if the dog is like food. Positive reinforcement. I'm all about positive reinforcement rather than no and telling them off. It's all about, oh, well done, you didn't bark, here's a treat. Just setting up the situations in a calm environment where you can maybe do a little bit of physical touch to someone, so hold their hand or pat them on the back, and then if the dog doesn't bark, oh, good boy, and give them a treat. That sort of thing, to gradually build up, rather than in a big crowd, you're hugging everyone, the dog is stressed out of its mind. Well, I think gradually.
Yeah, another caller says, my dog scratches all the doors and floors. They believe it's looking for attention. How do I stop this?
Depends when they're doing it. If they're doing it when you're there and sitting watching telly and they're just doing it, then that's sort of more of a behavioural thing. But if they're doing it when you're not there, it's probably anxiety, being left alone. So if when they all leave the house, the dog is scratching the floor, scratching the doors, it could be, like we said before, that it's not mentally stimulated enough, or it's sort of anxious being left on its own. So things you can do is leave the radio on, leave the telly on. You can get lots of these special toys that you can put food in, so these special treat balls, or a lick mat where you can put a little bit of the dog's wet food on a mat and they can lick it, just to sort of entertain them. You can even get these clever little puzzle boards for some of the clever collies where they have to push it all around and get the treats out. Just, again, a bit of mental stimulation if you're not there. To make them a bit more happy.
Last one, and not a pleasant note. My dog does terribly smelly wind. How can I stop this? Presumably it's diet related.
Exactly, yeah. A lot of it can be diet related. So dogs can get sort of irritable bowel and things from their food. A lot of the time, if the dog is really happy and is in good form, but has upset tummy, so diarrhea or smelly, wind, then it just look at the food. So sometimes the food we're buying, it might not agree with that dog. So look at changing to maybe a sensitive, or either ask your vet or ask your local pet shop. My dog's, a bit sensitive. Can we try a different food or something like that?
Is it dogs chew grass too, don't they? Is that to aid digestion, or is it something else? Maybe that's
yes,
enough.
I mean, it can be. So, no, my dog, she will eat grass when she's in 100% form. So she loves the long grass.
So they
and
don't
I think that's
self-medicate
extra
with
fibre.
it, no? They don't self-medicate with the grass?
I think she's doing that, my dog, for extra fibre. It's not because she wants to be sick. But then some dogs do it to help make them sick. So it's just to, again, gauge, is your dog actually under the weather? Is she poorly? Is she looking to be sick? Or is she out on a walk, happy as Larry, wagging her tail and just munching on a bit of grass here and there? So, yes, it can be both things, really. But,
right, 2 quickies then. I have a 6-month-old Labrador. She chews her bed and blankets. How do I stop that, and how? Well, when do I stop it? Sorry, when do I stop it and how?
Unfortunately, Labradors just love to chew things. Again, maybe if she's 6 months old, so she's probably still teething. So maybe getting her things that are suitable to chew. So getting the safe sort of chews in the pet shop, these rubber Kongs that she can't destroy, all those sorts of things. Hopefully she will grow out of it a little bit. But food, Labradors love food. So if she could stuff a treat ball full of food. And when's she doing it? Is she doing it when they're not there? Is she doing it just in general? But yeah, it's probably just a young dog thing that hopefully she'll grow out of.
And very lastly, what does it mean when a dog licks your face?
Dogs lick for lots of different reasons. So it could be that you've got something yummy around your face, ice cream or residues of food. It is a sign of affection as well. And
They're
it's
very affectionate to their genitals and stuff as well, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be the second licker.
I won't say what I was going to say, but go on, yeah.
We'll gloss over that.
They're just being affectionate. They're showing their love and exploring you, aren't they? I mean, they're exploring.
Exactly.
I mean, toddlers do it. They explore everything with their mouth.
Exactly. They don't have hands and things. That's how they explore things. Exactly.
All right. And on that note, Catherine, thank you so much for your time. Sorry, but I didn't realise we were going to get the questions in, but people wanted to ask and you answered expertly.
No,
Thank you so very much indeed, Catherine. Take care.
Anytime.
Bye-bye. Catherine McAloon of the Blue Stack Veterinary Clinic in Ballybuffet. Okay. And whilst we were listening to that, we were watching little doggies and puppies playing on the beach and in the grass. And so lovely. Chris Ashmore is not in with us today, but I want to let you know that his guest on Business Matters this week is Kilcar man Barry Doherty, who is Chief Executive Officer of Duncanely-based C&B Agri Enterprise Limited. It's a very, very interesting business with considerable potential. The firm uses seaweed and fish extracts to manufacture a natural sustainable product known as biostimulant, which can be used on crops to boost growth and quality. He describes the biostimulant as a multivitamin for crops. The potential market is vast, and earlier this year, as he explained to Chris, a major multinational Japanese company took a stake in the Donegal company, is now engaged in considerable research and development with numerous trials.
In January of this year, we took on an investor into the business, a Japanese conglomerate, really, Mitsui and Co. They're called. They're a big, massive company in Japan. They employ about 44,000 people. 110 billion euro turnover. So they're big players. Now they're in all different markets, but they're also in the nutrition market, and they're really now have been this past 12 months moving our R&D work, from where we could only really afford to do 1 or 2 trials per year. At the moment, we would have 37 different trials going on in 17 different countries at the moment on all different plants, from almonds to strawberries to wheat and barley, and then in Japan to all different types of lettuce that they grow over there. So yeah, it's very exciting with them. The results that are coming through are fascinating, and it's shown very encouraging signs for good growth over the next 5 to 10 years.
And just to let you know that you can listen to that interview in full right now on our website, highlandradio.com. It's the latest edition of the Business Matters podcast. And It's also going to be played out live for you just after the 6 o'clock news this coming Sunday.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
9 till noon show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
Give joy at Boots with hundreds of amazing gifts available on 3 for 2. We've a huge range of brands like No. 7 Ted Baker and Soap and Glory. And with home delivery and click and collect, it's never been easier to tick everyone off your Christmas list. Boots, give joy. Selected stores and boots.ie, subject to availability. Cheapest free offer ends 24th December. Delivery charges may apply.
Find the Volkswagen new with the Caddy Cargo Transporter 6.1 Crafter and the new Amarok. With HP finance from 4.9% and service plans from $12.99 per month. Book your test drive at Connolly's Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles, Letterkenny, or visit connellys.ie. Terms and conditions apply. Finance provided by the way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Visit volkswagenvans.ie for more information.
Hiya gang, it's me, Silly Billy from Jack and the Beanstalk, the biggest panto in all the land. I can't wait for you to join me and my friends at the Millennium Forum from the 30th of November until the 31st of December. Book now at millenniumforum.co.uk and start practicing your silly faces. Sponsored by the Richmond Centre.
There's something about this time of year that makes you want to be near all the things that remind you of your favourite Christmas. When you get that warm and fuzzy feeling, you want to be near the people you love and the things you love. So where better to get that Christmas feeling than Letterkenny Shopping Centre. There's free parking, extended opening hours and great gifts for everyone on your list. Add in a visit to Santa, you'll have Christmas all wrapped up. Letterkenny Shopping Centre. Christmas just around the corner.
This December the 22nd, you could own a brand new car worth €30,000. Highland Radio is giving away a brand new Skoda Kamiq worth over €30,000. Someone, and it could be you, will get a call from Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon show on Friday, December the 22nd.
You've just won a car.
Yes, steady on, that could be you. If you've got the lucky ticket, simply go to highlandradio.com, click on the car link, answer an easy question and buy a ticket for €10, 6 for €50 or 10 for €80. Highland Radio's great car giveaway. Get your ticket now.
Now, I'm sure most of you are aware that on August 9th, 1973, gunmen opened fire from a bridge over the M2 motorway at a van carrying workmen back to Donegal from a building site near Glengormley. 16-year-old Henry Cunningham was sitting in the front of the Bedford van when he was shot. He died soon after. We're joined on the programme by Robert Cunningham and Herbert, who I might speak to first. Herbert is also Henry's brother and was the driver that day. Herbert and Robert, both of you, good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg. Morning, Greg.
Herbert, I might start with you. I mean, you know, your recollections on that day. I mean, we don't have time to go through it now, but I'm sure it's as if it were yesterday for you still.
Exactly, Greg. Exactly. You just read it yesterday. It's about 2 years past here on the 9th of August. And it just seemed like it only happened yesterday evening. That's it.
Yeah, Robert, you were listening, and Herbert, you were listening to Micheál Martin's comments this week about the killing of Donegal man Michael Leonard. He was 24 years old when he was shot dead in 1973 by the RUC near the Donegal-Fermanagh border. I suppose, looking at what Micheál Martin commented on this week, Robert, and then sort of learning from your experiences with the killing of Henry, what was your emotions listening to Micheál Martin?
I was listening to your news yesterday morning. I couldn't believe it. And no disrespect to the family that was involved in the same time as Henry's. But I met Micheál Martin in 2009 up in Dublin. And he hasn't brought our case up. And I've discovered, listening to your thing, he's brought this other case up several times. Now, what's his problem? Why? Henry was only a young fella, 16, coming from work. And this doesn't go away, you know.
Yeah. Do you feel, Robert, that Henry's been forgotten?
Henry was forgotten. Even when it happened in 1973, we know now that the moderator of the Presbyterian Church and the Irish government knew the next day that who done it. Yet now our mother and father went to their graves, not being told. Why was that happened? Why had that to happen? Why didn't they come forward and say to my mother and father, who done it?
And Herbert, you're feeling this too, of course, being there in the day and sharing the same parents, as you can imagine. You have the same emotions as Robert has as it relates to, you know...
Yes, my voice made me greatest because I had a bit of cancer. I spent 10 months with it, and my voice box is kind of gone, but you know what I mean? But you'll still hear me.
Loud and clear, Herbert, loud and clear.
Yeah, good man. No, I'd never go away. No, it's every day. And really, what's really else what I got, they're not, nobody seems to, like, I know a lot of kids, and I'm not against that. There's a lot of kids have been mentioned, but Henry is forgotten about.
Which is very sad for you.
It is very sad, big, honest to God, it is very sad. Like he was working, we were down there 4 or 5 months working. We worked from up in Chantala, the same crowd, McDonald's from Belfast. And the work ran out, and I got asked to go down to Glengarmley, which we normally would never thought anything else. We were working there, I think, about 5 months. Lovely summer's evening, coming up the motorway. The motorway only went down onto below the footbridge, the second flyover after the footbridge at that time.
Yeah.
The then train passed when they went down to the bottom, the then seen at that time.
Yeah.
50 years ago. Then you had to turn up the bray up on the head to go to Castle Dawson. But we went on to Weenar Road. That's where we were working there in Glengarmley at the time. Every denomination of people was working on. People, what I got, Catholic persons, Church of Ireland, whatever. Nobody bothered about that there. But we were targeted for something. We never got no warnings or anything, Greg. And that's the truth. That is the truth. We walked up and down the one in 1969 and 70. It was a no-go area. We were beside... what I got the boys that time, the Povos was practicing away every day. Nobody bothered them, and they bothered nobody. And we ended up in Belfast, and that's what happened to us.
Robert, if you could speak to Micheál Martin now, or any representatives of the government, what would you say to them?
I would say, well, first of all, I'm going to say to you now, as I want to, before I go forget this, I want to thank John McAteer, who first highlighted our case when we started looking about it, when we found out who it was. I also would like to thank Patrick McLaughlin, who was the only politician that came to my house. And I met Martin McGuinness down on the Dal the day I met Micheál Martin. And Martin McGuinness came over to me and he shook my hand and told me I was a brave man. And he brought the case up with Tony Blair, but that's as far as that went. And if I met Micheál Martin now, I would be saying to them, the Irish government 50 years ago were cowards. And I say today they're still cowards, and they're certainly not to be trusted.
Okay. Robert Cunningham. Herbert, I spoke to you before, Robert. I think that's my first time speaking to you, Herbert. Hopefully you're on the road to recovery. Both of you, thank you very much indeed. Strong words heard loudly, I'm sure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Take care, Robert and Herbert Cunningham there.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. 2 floors of men's winter fashions. This Christmas, it has to be Evolve, Letterkenny Retail Park, or online at evolveclothing.com. Open 7 days.
Stay warm for less this winter with Homeland. Alcas Energy Wood Pellets 10 kg. Buy 10 bags, get 1 free. Kiln-dried softwood logs. Buy 2 bags for €14. Nationwide delivery available. Shop in-store or online at homeland.ie. Attention farmers, Alt Nurseries Althuber Castlefin are Department of Agriculture approved and can supply plant passports for your acre scheme. Thorn hedging, tree whips, shelters, hedging, plastic and native Irish apple trees are all available. Also stocking a large range of bare root, potted hedging trees, shrubs and much more. For the best quality at the keenest prices, call Gail at Alt Nurseries Castlefin on 086 306 7346. Check out these special offers at Simpson's Supermarket, Letterkenny. There's quality street tins, €10. Coke Zero, Coke Diet cans, 12-pack, €7. Tato cheese and onion assorted 12-pack, €3.50. There's the Slur range 750ml, 2 for €3.50. Plus, we are now taking orders for your Christmas turkey. While there, check out Peggy's Kitchen Cafe, only 2 minutes from Letterkenny Hospital. For all your Christmas needs, it has to be Simpson's Supermarket, with great value every day.
Discover the ultimate experience in the spa orchids at the Holyrood Hotel Bundoran with our tranquil Japanese-themed garden, rejuvenating massages, revitalizing facials, luxurious spa baths, pampering body treatments, not forgetting the outdoor hot tub and sauna in our secret garden. Visit on a luxury spa day, pop in for some me time, or buy the perfect present with a gift voucher. Relax and let the spa orchids transport you to another world. For more, see holyroodhotel.com. Get glowing skin this winter with the Clarins Gift of Beauty at McElhinney's. Purchase 2 or more Clarins products, 1 to be moisturiser or serum, and receive a choice of 4 free beauty treats and a gorgeous beauty bag. Hurry, offer available at McElhinney's until December 10th while stocks last.
And now the Highland Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK. Widespread Christmas shopping this December in Letterkenny. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
Okay, let's have a look at that weather forecast then. This afternoon will be windy with rain turning persistent and heavy. Highest afternoon temperatures of 7 or 11 degrees, 7 to 11 degrees, with fresh to strong and gusty southeasterly winds. Tonight, early tonight, will be wet and windy with fresh to strong and gusty southeasterly winds. The rain and strong winds will clear from most places overnight, but will persist the further east you go. Highest temperatures of 5 to 8 degrees. We had a wonderful, wonderful response to our competition in association with Cadbury. So many of you nominating special people in your lives. It's the kind of competition you don't want to pick winners, or you do want to pick winners, but it doesn't feel right because we heard some amazing stories of people, and it would warm your heart. And I wish all of you could read all of the stories that we have had. Right, okay, so here's today's winner. I'm just texting in for the competition to win a Cadbury bar of chocolate. Well, it's actually the person that you're nominating is for today and tomorrow is winning a lovely hamper. The person I think deserves this is my granddad Jim. He had a rough year with breaking his hip and started to attend dialysis in Letterkenny Hospital 3 times a week. He praises the staff and is so thankful for this service they do for him. Granda plays a big part in our lives. We're so lucky. If I win, I believe the prize is a hamper. But instead, I'd like if this went to the staff of the dialysis unit in Letterkenny for all the hard work they do for Granda. So the winner of this beautiful hamper today is the staff at the dialysis centre, dialysis unit in Letterkenny. And hopefully they'll keep a few bits to one side for Granda Jim when he's in. He's in 3 times a week and praises the staff and the service that they provide for him. So we've got a lovely Cadbury hamper, and it's a beauty, heading down to the dialysis unit in Letterkenny University Hospital as a big thank you for all the hard work they do. And as I say, hopefully they sneak a bit for Granda as well. Okay, listen, thank you, Carl, for sending that in, and we'll make that happen. And we're going to have another opportunity for you to win, for someone you nominate to win a hamper from Cadbury tomorrow, and then we have a €250 voucher then on Friday. So it's all very exciting, isn't it? But as I say, it would warm the heart reading some of the wonderful stories. We were talking about buying a pet for Christmas or adopting a pet. This is one listener's experience. I have a friend on a farm. They tried to adopt a dog and they were turned away. They were told it wasn't a birthday present. The sister then rang. The husband did too. They were turned down. They had a house and a farm. They couldn't adopt. They had to buy, lots of paperwork involved. They offered them a hamster instead. What good's a hamster? Ask this lady why it's so hard to adopt a dog. And I have asked other people that in the past, and those responsible for rehoming dogs, and they take into account a whole plethora of things, and they have to ensure that where the dog is going, it's good for the dog. I'm sure your place was as well, but for whatever reason, you weren't successful. Being Irish, in my opinion, is a mentality of community work to make life better for us all, not based on colour. The biggest fear is extreme religious views, Islam, that may come into our country and forced upon us by force, by weight of numbers. Example, Sharia law. But that is like worrying. I mean, people go, well, climate change isn't real. Nothing's happening there. But they think, like, Islam's going to take over Ireland and we're going to live under Sharia law. You know, I mean, is that realistic? Good morning, Greg. Ask your guest what an Irish person would get in South Africa. What are the benefits like? Greg, you portray Irish natives bad and refugees as good. Not at all. I literally having a conversation where I was putting across some of the stuff that you read and hear, to have a conversation, putting it to that person. Now, the Irish are the best nation in the world. We're the best nation in the world. I'm not saying anything other than that for a second. And we are so generous and we're so welcoming and we're so giving. We're one of the biggest givers. And in Donegal, we're some of the biggest givers. And we are doing more than our fair share, more than every other county to host and welcome people. So I'm not suggesting that for a second. It was trying to have a conversation where all the cards were on the table and all viewpoints were covered and responded to. He is incorrect about how to stop the influx. The only way is to close our borders like we should have done a long time ago. Another nothing to be afraid of. Tell that to the people stabbed last week. The families of the 2 Irish beheaded in Sligo last year, the family of Ashley Murphy. And I get exactly what you're saying, of course, but I could list off, very unfortunately, and people I know who were brutally murdered by people here as well. So, listen, I'm not saying you're wrong or right. I'm just saying that it's not like we'd all be perfectly safe. Just go down to the courthouse and see who's landing in there for the various things that are going on as well. It's a mix, I'll tell you that. Plenty of locals. Okay, that's it. We're going to see you tomorrow morning at 9. Stay tuned. John Breslин's coming